Hi, everyone. Welcome.
Hi.
Hello there.
Hello.
Welcome to the Friday night panel. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Oh, did we just lose someone?
We lost Erika.
Oh no.
Yeah.
She'll be back. She'll be
Okay.
back. How's everyone doing today?
Good.
Great.
Great.
Thank you.
Wonderful.
Good.
I'm so
Good.
excited that everyone's here. And quick thank you to Dave for inviting the Friday night panel to YouTube. We've been doing this panel on TikTok for over a year now and have had some wonderful moments and excited to bring that over to this community here and get to interact and meet everyone over here. So tonight we will be discussing, hi everyone in the chat. Thank you guys for tuning in. If you guys are here from TikTok, drop it in the comments. Let us know if you guys are here supporting from TikTok. Let us know where you're watching from. Happy Friday to everyone.
Thank God
Yes,
it's
happy
Friday.
Friday.
Yes, yes.
The
Happy
best
Friday.
day.
Very excited.
Mm-hmm.
So we're just going to chat today about all of our wins, challenges, and everything beyond the scale. So we're going to start off with Shannon. Shannon, do you want to do actually, hold on. Before we do that, let's do the church announcements before we do the panel introductions. So the church announcements for everyone are obviously, let's be respectful of everyone and allow everyone to finish their thoughts before jumping in. We feel very strongly about this being a safe space for everyone within our community. And if you have not purchased Dave's book yet, What Are You Doing with Your Life? You can get it at glpbook.com. I love this book. And if you are struggling with letting people know if you are on a GLP-1, very digestible. Definitely check it out. Also, if you are interested in being a guest on the Friday night panel, you can just go to onthepen.com/Sabrina, and there is an interest form there. We would love to have you up and chat with us. There is a community event in Atlanta that we have a handful of tickets. Shannon, do we have any tickets left? I think there's like less than 10 maybe.
It's getting close. It's getting very, very close. You want to grab them. They may be gone by the time the weekend's up.
Yes.
Yeah, I think
yes.
Jack said it was in the single digits.
Yes. So if you want to go, I would recommend that you purchase your tickets because it's going to sell out within,
by the end of this broadcast.
Probably. Let's be honest.
Yes.
Probably. It's not something you're going to want to miss. Yes. Yeah. Oh, yay! Ryan's going. Very excited about that. So very, very excited. It's going to be a great time. And so tickets are available in my link tree, Shannon's. There's a handful of us that have the link, the tickets available in their link tree. And then also we're going to do something a little different this week. So if the chat has any questions that they want to pose for the panel, please drop them in the chat. Well, no promises. We will try and get to them, but we've got a bunch of great questions that have been submitted. So if there's anything you guys want to know, please drop it in the chat. We'll try and get to it. But so does anyone have anything before we start with the panel introductions? Nope. Okay. Nope. Shannon, please start with introductions, a brief overview of your journey, where people can find you, and your non-scale victory.
All right. Hi, everybody. My name is Shannon. I am a type 2 diabetic. I have actually been on a GLP-1 medication for 6 years. I spent 4.5 years on Ozempic, and for the last almost 80 weeks, or about 80 weeks, I've been on Mounjaro. I am down about 28% of my body weight, and my A1C just whispered out of the pre-diabetic range, which is a huge victory for me. It's the first time in years that it's been that way. I'm on TikTok primarily, but I'm also 1/3 of the A Collective, which is a podcast with a couple other ladies who are in the GLP-1 community. You can find us wherever you get your favorite podcast. We are the A Collective Pod. Yeah. And my non-scale victory, the blood work, the labs this month, and I'm not huffing and puffing up and down stairs anymore. I bounced up some very steep stairs outside my home, and I was quite impressed that I wasn't out of breath when I got to the top. And I didn't run up them, but I just kind of bounced with the pep in my step, and I wasn't. I counted all joy.
Girl, I would like anytime I used to go up the stairs, I was fighting for my life.
Yes.
And trying not to breathe so hard at the top.
I'd be one trip up, one trip down, because that was going to be it. That was going to take all I had. So,
Yep. And then also, for those of you who don't know, Miss Shannon hosts the morning show on TikTok. Tell us about that, Shannon.
So I go live on TikTok every Tuesday through Friday at 8:30 a.m. Eastern time. I'm on at least an hour, sometimes more. It depends on my schedule. But we get on and we chit chat, kiki, have a good time about any and everything. Sometimes we're GLP-1 talking. Sometimes we're inspirationally talking. Sometimes we're talking about food. Sometimes we're talking about shopping. We're all over the place, but it's always a good time. And the community, it's a place for the community, many members of the community to gather, start their day, and get off on the right foot. And we celebrate all the things because I'm rooting for everybody.
That's very true. That's very true. It's I absolutely love it. So if you guys ever get a chance, check it out. Check it out. Shannon is a light in this community, and we are very lucky to have her. So let's go with Mimi. Go ahead.
Sure. Hi, everybody. I'll say hello from the future because I'm in Australia and it's actually 10 o'clock on Saturday morning here. And so you can find me on social media as Mimi in Oz. Sometimes it has underscores in it, but my profile picture is a cat emoji with an Australian flag on it everywhere. So if you see that emoji, you'll know you've got the right account. I am 60 years young and I've been obese for at least half of those 60 years. But I guess my GLP journey is a little bit different to other people's because I'm currently a participant in one of the phase 3 retatrutide clinical trials. So I've been on the clinical trial for just over 12 months and I've got just under 12 months to go. I've lost nearly 35% of my body weight and my BMI has dropped from 36 to 23. So I'm actually at the stage where I'm trying not to lose more weight now because they will dose reduce me if my BMI drops to 22. And I've been able to come off all of my blood pressure medications, reduced my cholesterol medications, reduced my thyroid medications. And, I'm just feeling generally so much happier and healthier. And my non-scale victory recently was last week I was away interstate for work and it was raining and I'd forgotten to pack my raincoat. And so there was a department store across the road from the hotel I was staying in. So I quickly raced over. And as you can imagine, lots of other people were there buying raincoats as well. And the display was a bit of a mess. And so I just picked up something, tried it on, it fit, and went and paid for it and went back to my hotel. And when I got back to the hotel, I looked at the tag and I'd actually purchased a child's raincoat, not an adult's. And it actually fit me.
Wow.
So I don't know. Maybe it was incorrect labeling, but I'm going to take it as my non-scale victory.
Oh, no, it wasn't. That's amazing.
That is.
Congratulations on all your success. That's amazing.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah, we definitely got to.
Thank you to everybody in this community for being so lovely and welcoming.
Oh, absolutely. Yes. This community is like no other I've ever seen. You know, it's incredible. It's incredible. And I'm very grateful to have fallen into it and met some people that I know that I'm going to be friends with for the rest of my life. You know, I have made some connections that are very, very real, and I'm grateful for it. I know my journey would have been completely different had I not found this community. So
Same.
yeah, Shannon, you said you were doing this for 6 years, right?
4.5, and I was unsuccessful. I walked into the endocrinologist office the Tuesday after Labor Day 2023, absolutely defeated, because I was at my wit's end. My A1C was not being managed, and which meant, you know, my weight was bananas. So I had a BMI. I started with a BMI over 40.
Yeah.
And Mimi, I just want to say thank you for participating in the clinical trials. Man, you're affecting the future of medicine.
She's in the future right now.
Right? Yeah, she is. She actually is in the future.
I am in the future, literally, yeah. But yeah, I mean, I guess one of, you know, obviously I'm getting lots of benefits from it. But, you know, like I know now that I've been in this community for about 12 months, there is so many people who are looking to the future, looking to the new GLPs that are coming out, the people who are kind of maxed out on the maximum dose of the currently available drugs and are looking for that extra. And so I'm hoping that whenever I post about my journey and my side effects and what's happened and, you know, my DEXA scans and things like that, that hopefully that will help people, because initially what's going to happen is retatrutide and other drugs are going to get approved, and you're going to go to your regular doctor and they're not going to be able to say to you, oh yes, I've had lots of patients on that drug and this is what happens. They're going to be going, well, all I've got is this published data to go with. So I'm hoping that I can give people the lived experience of that.
That's amazing. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I mean, thank you. I am one of those people who is anxiously awaiting retatrutide, because I think that's what's going to end up carrying me to my goal. I think it's going to be, I don't know that it's going to happen on MJ, but maybe on Retta, who tried. I know, we'll see, but thank you, Mimi. Yes, I agree. Thank you so much to all the trial participants. So let's go with Ashley.
Hello, my name is Ashley. I am on. Wait, are we supposed to say what we're on? I can't remember. But
sure.
I switched over from Sema to compound tirzepatide, and it's been amazing. I've been on it for 16 weeks. When I first started out on this journey, I didn't know anything because I went to somewhere in my hometown and I learned everything I learned, mostly from research, but from GLP-1 users like Sabrina and a whole bunch of other people. And it's been the most amazing thing I could have done. Actually, today marks 12 years since I lost my daddy, which is what set me on the journey of starting to gain and not be able to lose. And so, you know, finally finding something that actually could help me lose and start sustaining it, because I felt like I would lose and then I would gain. I would lose and I would gain. And it was just like this yo-yo thing. So to finally come into a community that understands we're all on this journey together, everybody wants you to succeed. It's not a competition. Like, it's just the most amazing thing. So it's been amazing. I am just on TikTok, but I just started my YouTube channel. So we'll see where that goes. I'm on Instagram, but don't post as much. But I just want to say thank you to everybody who has allowed all of us to tell our journeys on TikTok and been there to support us and everything. Because I feel like we as a community wouldn't be the way we are. It's like therapy. Like, this community's therapy, like unpaid therapy, you know, because we don't have to pay for it. It's amazing. So I've been so thankful to even just be a part of the GLP-1 community, but even more thankful to feel like I have support from the GLP-1 community and not feel alone in a journey. So
that is incredibly powerful, because for so long, I felt alone, right? For so long, I feel like we all did. And that whole up and down, up and down. I mean, baby, you're singing my song.
Like, it's
So
crazy, but it's true.
So many of us have that story, where we would just go up, and then like the 30 that we would lose, we would gain 45, and that happened over and over and over again. And so, yes, being a part of the community, but also feeling supported by the community is incredible. I always say, find your people. It will change your journey. So,
and I feel like there's so many amazing people in this community
that
I would have never met ever.
Right.
Had TikTok not been a thing.
Yes, I agree.
It's crazy.
May we have your non-scale victory?
Non-scale victory. I went to the park with my kiddo the other day, and I picked up my kid, and I didn't run with her, but like I was holding her and jogging. I could have never done that when I started.
Oh, that's amazing.
Ever. So like no pain, like in my knees, and which is funny because I said this in a live the other day, but I swear these meds are like Botox for my knees. Like they feel 10 years younger than they did 12 years ago. So like to be able to do that was just, I was so shocked. I was like, wait a minute. But also I remember, she's 28 pounds. So I'm like, this is what it would have felt like. And I'm like, I don't know how my knees did it, So that's mine.
I love that. Liz?
So my name is Liz. I turned 40 this year in January. And I've been on tirzepatide now 16 months. I've done both the Zepbound pens and compound. I started my journey looking for relief for a condition that I have called lipedema. That's my other niche in my handle, Liz Lifting and Lipedema. And I had been diagnosed, which was kind of a relief, but at the same time, there was no solution to it besides some daily therapies that you could do. And then I went down a rabbit hole of other lipedema sisters who were having success on tirzepatide. And a friend of mine named Jackie, she was on MJ, and she's like, well, you should try it and see if it helps. And I was significantly over the 300 mark. I'm a lifelong obesity fighter my entire life. I had gastric bypass 15 years ago, and I did lose pounds, but it didn't help the condition I have called lipedema. So my legs never transformed shape. Like I would lose pounds, but not from there.
Liz?
And
Liz, I'm sorry to interrupt you. Could you explain what lipedema is for everyone?
Sure. It's a fat condition. It's a diseased fat with connective tissue disorder. So the fat itself is a harder nodule texture, and it doesn't go away with normal diet and exercise. Okay. My grandmother had it, but she was undiagnosed. And so when I learned about it and I got a diagnosis, and I learned about it through TikTok, by the way.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Yeah. I was relieved, but also I had the mindset of I don't want to end up like she did. She was very immobile, lots of pain. Her legs were very large, column shaped. And so that set me on the journey of finding access to tirzepatide. And so I've been on it 16 months. I've lost around 80 pounds now. But really, it's transformed my life. I feel younger now at 40 than I did at 35. Like the Botox for your knees kind of thing. Yeah. And through my journey, I discovered my love of powerlifting. That's the other part of my handle. So I'm a big powerlifter fan. That is my therapy, other than TikTok.
I love it.
And aside from that, I'm a stay-at-home mom of 2 kids. I wanted a better future for myself as a mom, but also hopefully a grandmother one day. Seeing how my grandmother was so immobile, I remember her a lot of times just being in her recliner. And I don't want to be that kind of grandma. I want to be active. I want to be hands-on. So I've been able to find a sustainable lifestyle with these medications versus all the other things I've tried my whole life. Like this finally feels like my brain should have been doing this all the time. It feels more, I hate saying normal, but it feels organic. Like this is how it should be. And I try my best to be transparent on TikTok. I'm on Instagram too, but a lot of that's like my homeschool mom life. because I've learned that the more I was vulnerable with my lipedema about my GLP-1, I could help more people, and it gave me that sense of connection. So the same thing you described with the GLP-1 community, the same thing happens with lipedema. It's very undiagnosed. It's very taboo to talk about because a lot of people just say, "Oh, it's just cellulite. You're just making up something to have a condition," which is not true. So having those connections to be able to help people and giving resources that have worked for myself, it's helped my journey too. So
I love that.
My non-scale victory, I got picked to be a Halara rep recently. And so they give you like a store credit to go on, thank you, and pick out the clothes that are coming up for promotions and stuff. And so I ordered them. I had never worn their stuff before. And I just took a chance. I was like, well, it says I should be this size. Let's see. And the first pair of leggings I put on were a size large, and I was able to wear them comfortably, and they looked good. And I just was like, does this mean I'm really like this size? So that was huge for me this week. I'm still adapting to being like a size 12 in jeans. I haven't been that size since probably before high school. So
I love that. I love every single part of everything that you said. Congratulations on all aspects.
Thank you.
You're welcome. That's amazing. And yes, you are that size because I believe your pants say that you are that size.
Well, I put them on every day and I'm like, what?
I love that.
Thank you for having me on tonight. I appreciate
absolutely. I don't know if you guys have, it's all women up here. It is a powerhouse women. So thank you guys so much for coming up here. I respect each of you so much. So, Mindy.
Hi, I'm Mindy. Thank you, Sabrina, for inviting me to join the panel. I'm not a content creator, so there's really no need to look for me on social media. I like to say that I'm a content creator cheerleader. You'll probably see me in all kinds of lives on TikTok and commenting and participating on YouTube. But I don't really create much content myself. I am 63 years old. I like to say, well, I wish I didn't have to say, but I like to say that I have diabetes. I have diabetes and obesity. I've struggled with my weight since I was a teenager, and I've lost and gained over 100 pounds probably 3 times now, and 30 to 50, who knows how many times. I was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes in September of 2023, and I started Mounjaro in April of 2024. So I'm on week 51, and I'm down 93 pounds, or about 34% of my body weight. I wanted to comment on something Liz said, because I am a Grammy of 2, and they're 3 and 5 years old, and I can run around and play with them. And I am not the Grammy in the recliner, and I'm very glad to say that. And I want you to know that that will be the best Grammy that your grandkids could have.
Love that.
I love being a part of this GLP-1 community. I really have learned so much, both here on YouTube and on TikTok. I love that I've made so many friends. I see a lot of them commenting in the comments. And my current NSV is being able to train for triathlon and finally seeing improvements in my performance. I've always done triathlon. I started triathlon after one big weight loss, and somehow doing triathlon still managed to gain back 100 pounds. And so now that I'm back down to close to fighting weight, I'm really enjoying my training. So that's my non-scale victory, and it's also my unofficial therapy is working out every day, training hard.
That's incredible, Mindy. That's incredible. Like we've got to connect offline. I want to hear all about it.
Oh yeah, sure.
Yeah. I would love to chat with you on that. Congratulations on everything.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
And me. Hello, everybody. Happy Friday and happy Saturday. So I had so many, as y'all were talking, there were so many little points. So Mimi is not on the Friday night panel. She's on the Saturday morning panel. She's living in the future, But anyway, my name is Erika. I am the Queen Jewel, actually the Erika Jewel on TikTok. I have IG that I don't post as much on, but I love the community. I love all of the folks here. Liz, you are stunning. Like, she's giving Juliana Margulies.
Thank you. I will just come here every Friday, y'all. Listen.
So my story, I will be 45 in a couple months, and I don't want to feel 70 plus, because that's how I was feeling when I was much heavier. I have been on MJ since February of last year, and I have released over 70 pounds. I also have a history of weight loss surgery. So my highest recorded weight was 401. And I had gotten down to about 260-ish at my lowest. And then I had a spinal condition. I have a bunch of anti-inflammatory things. Liz, I probably need to check with you because I have sneaking suspicion. I started doing research on lipedema because I noticed, like, with my legs, as I lose, I don't lose there. And it is the firm that, like, they've always been hard and, like, not jiggly, but that's a whole nother thing.
I think I followed you earlier today, so we can
chat. So yes, I am. My goal to continue releasing weight, but also to build my strength back up. With the spinal surgery that I had, I lost a lot of strength. So I'm not as confident in the gym, but I actually just picked up a trainer. So I will be working on that, and I'll take y'all along on that journey. My non-scale victory, I'll share. I told the ladies right before we got started that I was all set up in my office upstairs. And I sent my husband a text like, when you come in, don't, bother me because I'm going to be on the panel and I can't shut it off. And he said that he picked up a double, so he was going to be going right to bed when he came in. Now, my office is right off the bedroom, and I didn't want to have to whisper. So I'm like grabbing everything so that I can come downstairs. I have my laptop, the stand, the phone, my cup of water, like everything. And I'm like running down the stairs. And I got downstairs and I was like, I'm not breathing hard or nothing. Like, okay.
Love it.
So I'm just happy to be here. I second all of the sentiments about this being such an amazing community. I learned probably 90% of what I know about GLP-1 and this process from TikTok. And then the rest probably off TikTok by someone who I met on TikTok. So I'm very thankful to everyone in the community. And yeah, that's about it.
Love it. So everyone, you guys know me. My name is Sabrina, and I've been on Mounjaro for over 20 months. I am down 34% of my body weight. Last time I got on a scale, I was down 91 pounds. I am down from my highest weight, 147 pounds. I also I'm passionate about this community, about healing, about pushing people outside their comfort zone, and lovingly pushing people outside their comfort zone, and encouraging others to heal. I was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes in April of 23. I am a breast cancer survivor, and have obesity. So like we've all been talking about, the up and down, lost hundreds. And I think, I don't know, it was a while ago, I had posted a video about, I had calculated how much I had lost at that point, and it was something like 360 pounds, like in my lifetime. But that was back then. So baby, I know how to lose weight. I know how to lose weight. But this time it's about sustainability and maintaining it as a lifestyle, and just connecting with amazing people. So I'm very, very grateful to be here and be with you guys in this community. I deeply, deeply love everyone. So my non-scale victory for this week is, like I mentioned, I just had my 10-year chemo anniversary, and it brought up a lot of feelings. And when I mean, a lot of feelings. Last week, I was on a live with, on TikTok with, thank you. I was on a live with Erika and Jay, and we were chatting about this. And I guess I never realized that I needed therapy until I came into the GLP-1 community. And with that, a lot of feelings have come up. And once I've started releasing, or like feeling and processing some of these feelings, I realized that there's a wound down there from I mean, I went through chemo while I was pregnant. So there's just a lot of trauma and hurt down there. And it's time to feel those feelings, process them, and release them. So I've decided to find a therapist who specializes in medical trauma. That I've decided that it's time. It is time. So that's what my victory is. I want to heal that part of me.
That's a great victory.
Yeah.
I love that.
It's a big step.
Thank you.
I think when you're on any kind of journey, and especially what you've been through, therapy is a must, even with people that have nothing wrong with them. So I commend you for realizing like you need therapy. I think that's a big step.
Thank you. Yeah, it's
a huge step. And I just, like, if you feel that you are on a path to healing now, I can only imagine your impact once you get to a place where you feel that you're healed, because you're doing so much work, even with the trauma that you're still holding on to. So once you're able to get to a point of releasing that, girl, you're just going to be unstoppable. Okay.
So yes, I'm excited. I am excited for the first time in a very, very long time. I'm excited, and I wake up every morning like happy, excited, like ready to take on the day. Maybe like 20 months ago, that wasn't the case. That was not the case. I was mad and sad as hell every single day. I was in a very different place, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, everything. So I'm excited. I feel good. So
you feel good, you look good.
Trying to, baby, trying. getting there. Hopefully soon. So, but I appreciate you guys coming onto the panel. So
thank you for having us.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes, absolutely. Do you guys want to start with the questions?
Sure.
All right. Okay, so this one is going to come from, this one came from Mimi. Mimi's question is, what are some quotes or advice you have found to be motivational or have really struck a chord with you during your weight loss journey?
Does that mean I have to go first?
If you want to.
Please do.
Okay. I kind of feel like we need, that sinking music for everybody else. Yeah, so that kind of came to me as sometimes I think God just puts things in front of you at the right time, just when you need it to be there. Like, that's how I ended up on the clinical trial. My son had got married. The wedding photos had come back. I looked like a potato in them. And I was thinking, I really have to do something about my weight. And then next thing, an ad pops up on my Facebook saying we're recruiting for clinical trials in the area. So I find that as well, with little things. And Sabrina, you have some great quotes, on your postings that I find. But I have been a comfort eater all of my life, and I'm not sure that comfort is even the right word. I just used food for everything. Food to be happy, food to be sad, food to celebrate, food to commiserate. Just do everything with food. And now that I have got down to my goal weight and I've still got another 12 months on the drug, like this is my opportunity to start processing those feelings, because I've never, ever dealt with them. I've always been, this is an unpleasant feeling. We will fix that with food. We will eat until I'm numb and it goes away. And so I've just recently started seeing a psychologist, and, I've said, look, if I don't do this now, as soon as they take me off that drug, I'm just going to eat my way back up again. That is what will happen, because unless I know how to process these feelings properly that I've never, ever dealt with. And so I've just been, talking with the psychologist about that. And so one of the saying came up the other day. I forget where I saw it, but it was somewhere on social media. And it's a bit confronting, but the saying was, you're not a dog, so don't reward yourself with food. And I actually gasped when I read it, and I thought, wow, like, no, I'm not. And I should not look at food as a reward, because I always have. Oh, I've been good today, I can have a chocolate. I've been good today, I can do this. Been good, and associating good and bad with activity and eating and all of those kind of things. So that's what made me think about little sayings and things that pop up. And then another one was Ali on Fitness Flavor Fun. I might have that in the wrong order, but anyway. Yes. She was talking about loose skin, and that's something else that I've really been struggling with, because I really did not expect to not like my new body. Like I didn't like my old body, but I didn't expect to not like my new body. And then she was talking about, well, beforehand, she didn't like her body in clothes or out of clothes, but now at least she likes her body when it's clothed. It still doesn't love the body unclothed, but and so that made me think, all right, well, I'm still better off than I was, apart from all the health benefits. Like, I still look better than I did, and not that many people, other than, I don't have a partner, so people other than paid health professionals don't have to see me naked.
Oh, that's funny.
It's me and people that get paid to do it.
Love it.
I'm not volunteering to start now.
You never know what the future holds, Mimi.
Thank you, Ali. That was very, very useful, and it came along at exactly the right time. So that's where my question came from.
I think that all of that is very important, though, right? Like, addressing the fact that I feel like a lot of us have done that. A lot of us have used food as we turned to it. I know I did when I was happy, or when I was sad or bored, or any emotion that I had. I would always fix it with food. So I think all of that is very, very important, and you should be proud of yourself. That's a big deal. It's a very big deal.
Yeah, I think it's, I'm 60. It's probably time I started dealing with it.
Yeah, for sure. I agree with that. Ashley?
What was the question again?
The question is, are there any quotes or advice that you have found to be motivational or really struck a chord with you during your weight loss journey?
I got this. And I think for me, I think this is very important. And I get it, Mimi. Like, my problem too is not just the emotional reward eating, it's the boredom eating. The sitting at a desk and I'm doing stuff with my hands, but it's like my brain's like food. And I think that was a huge part of mine. But I think something I've learned in this journey is, like, you are not what the scale says you are. The scale doesn't define who you are as a person. Your size doesn't define who you are as a person. I used to get on the scale every single morning. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to try this whole not getting on the scale thing for like 1 week. Like, tried to do it less. And when I tell y'all how much happier I was to not step on that thing every single morning, I don't do it anymore now. Like I may weigh 2 times a week. I may only weigh the last day where it's like weigh-in day. Like, and when I tell it transformative mentally for me, I'm happier to do this. I don't feel like this is a job. I feel like I'm actually doing it for myself. And I think that comes in mentally. And because I think this journey is not a physical aspect, emotional aspect, or mental. I think it's everything. I think it's a combination of everything. So learning that it's not just what I see on the floor and what my body looks like, that it's internally things that are happening too. I think those have been the things that, so like anybody starting, I think that understanding that it's not just a physical thing and not using the scale on the floor to determine who you are or even your BMI, because that's not the only thing that matters. And I think that's something that I think a lot of people focus on when they start. And I think it can disappoint people, especially week by week, if they're not losing the way that they expect to lose. And I'm sure all you ladies are the same. I'm sure at some point in time we got disappointed when we, up and down, but it's like weight loss isn't linear. So I just feel like it's like something we have to learn mentally. It's not just that thing. That thing does not say who we are as a person. And I think it's taken me 12 years to realize that. Yes. And it's like I got on a GLP-1 and it's like my brain just opened up or something. I'm not sure, but like
I love it though. That's huge. That's a huge win. I mean, that's incredible. That shifted, that mindset shift is a very big deal. It's a very big deal.
I have one.
Yeah.
So before I started my GLP-1 journey, I was on a health journey. I had gotten sober and I was trying to lose weight, and a lot of all I could do was walk. I couldn't do much more. And so I started my own little Instagram group of other moms, and I was like, we called it Just Show Up. So just show up. If you show up, you'll walk 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and it'll eventually progress. But you at least just have to show up for yourself. And if you can show up for yourself in a form of movement, getting your water in, eating better, making better choices for yourself, it changes that mind shift of I have to. If I just show up, I can do something. So like some people ask me, what's your motivation to go to the gym or work out at your house? I'm like, some days I have zero, but if I just go step out into my garage and say, let's do something, I'll end up doing a full workout, but I just have to show up for me because no one else is going to come save me. And it was learning that mentality of just, if I walk in the doors of the gym, what am I going to do? Just stand around? No, more than likely I'll get something done.
Yeah.
But I have to show up for me. And it meant showing up for me outside of being mom, outside of being wife, those kind of things. So it's my own little saying, but it's just show up.
I love it. I love it. I'm going to piggyback on that because mine is very similar to that. For me, for the longest time, it was I have to get to the gym. I have to go work out. I have to do this. I have to eat. And then I shifted that to I get to work out today. Yeah. There are many people who were not afforded the same choice.
Yep.
So the same, I get to do this. I'm blessed enough to do this. There was a time in my life where I could not get up and go to the gym. I could not physically do anything. So shifting that to I get to has been instrumental. And for me, it really has, it's changed. It's changed a lot for me because it's no longer an obligation. It's a gift. It's a gift.
Sabrina, I'm going this is a little bit of a left, but we use that exact word, I get to, at church. I get to serve.
Okay.
I don't have to serve.
Yeah.
I'm not required to serve. I get to serve. And I think that is transformative.
Absolutely. I agree with that 100%. I get to. It's powerful.
I feel like I need a notepad because y'all are coming. I have a pen right here. I'm gonna write on the back of some mail. Because y'all think I'm playing. I am not. The just show up and the I get to, because there were so many times where I couldn't. And I think about like what you said, Liz, what are you going to do? You're going to show up to the gym and not do anything? Because I have to get out of my head when I think about what I used to be able to do, because I was strong. I felt like my arms were strong, my legs were strong and everything. And with the spinal condition that I had and a lot of, sciatica and all of these things, I get to the point where I'm just like, you know what? Oh, I can just walk. I'll just walk. And why bother with the weights? I'll just walk because I can't do it anymore or what have you. But I just got to build back up to that. But yeah, I'm writing both of those down.
Well, I think it also just simplified it. It made it less of this big income, like big task where it just show up. If all you got to do was a 15-minute walk today, you still went and did a 15-minute walk.
Right.
Instead of people thinking I have to do an hour to make it worth something. That's not true.
Right.
And every day that you do a little bit more, like she said, you get to build up to that stamina. But if you don't show up the first day, you don't show up the second or the third or the fourth. So
and then next thing you know, it's been 6 months.
Exactly.
And I think the starting is hard for people, just starting it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, I'll share mine. And it's funny because I feel almost hypocritical by saying this because I apply it in so many other ways, but I need to apply it there as well. But mine, and I said it quite a few times, is the time is going to pass anyway. So just do it because the time is going to pass anyway. So instead of getting in my head and just like, oh, where am I going to be, 6 weeks from now? And, I want this target. I want to make this, that, or whatever. I can't do anything about that. The time is going to pass anyhow. So just do what you know to do. And then the other is similar to what Tay said in the chat, mind your own health, but also comparison is the thief of joy. Because if you compare yourself to someone else, they may lose 15 pounds in their first week. And it may, like it took me a couple months for the weight to start coming off. Like I didn't lose like measurable weight until I was about 4 months in. But my blood sugar was on point. My blood pressure was on point. I didn't hurt as much. I have a migraine condition and I noticed that I didn't have as many migraines for some time. So if I was only looking at the scale, I would have lost all of those benefits that, or I wouldn't have been able to appreciate all of those benefits that I did have. And it wasn't until we were planning for the meetup last year. I think that was that in May? And I started in February. So until that time, Sabrina was like, oh, send pictures of your progress, this, that, whatever. I'm like, no pictures. I'm still just as like, I don't have anything. And then I thought about it. I sent her a picture of my blood sugar because it was on point. Because that is progress. So I think that being able to celebrate all of the things that have nothing to do with the number on the scale is very important.
Agreed.
You guys know how I feel about that. I mean, it was like beyond the scales what this was called, so it's a big deal. It's a big deal because I've heard Shannon say this, like we are more than a number, right? We are more than a number. We are more than this medicine as well. So it is, there's so many different factors and aspects to this journey. And it's important to go over all of it, to definitely recognize all of the wins. So congratulations.
I have one.
Yeah.
I've heard this said, and at first it kind of rubbed me the wrong way, but if I thought about it, I kind of understood it. And that is that we can control our actions, but we can't control the outcome. So, it's kind of like looking at the scale, right? I show up for myself every day. Like Liz is saying, I do my triathlon training. I'm swimming, I'm biking, I'm running, I'm lifting weights. And I'm doing all, my healthy calorie deficit and my water, my protein, all the things, but the scale may not move. And I need to, so that's one of the outcomes. Erika's right. We have other outcomes, right? My A1C went from 10.9 to 4.7. So, that's a different outcome, right? So you may not get the outcome you want to, or you're focused on too. Yeah. That's also probably, I never thought about that until I just spewed those words. But so we have to keep showing up, kind of like what everyone said, putting those actions in place. The outcome we're seeking may not show up for a while, but we still have to keep putting in the work.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, that A1C number, oh my God. That's incredible.
My doctor's jealous, so.
That is impressive.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Thanks. Yeah.
So mine, I have a couple. Well, technically I have about 3.
Let's hear them. Give them to us. I want all of this.
So the first one is, and this goes back to just starting somewhere. Don't let the start stop you. Do not let the start stop you. My doctor, kind of piggybacking on Liz, told me 80 weeks ago, just move for 10 minutes. Just 10 minutes. Just start at 10 minutes. He told me that will get you started. And he said, build on it. He goes, I want you to move for 10 minutes, 3 times a week. That's all I want you to do. That's where you start. And then you can go from there. So don't let the start stop you. A big one in the community, but I am a believer, and it is definitely letting go and trusting. Trust the process. Trust the process. This is something we're in control of, but similar to Mindy, we can't control the outcome. We're not in control of it. The body's going to do what the body's gonna do. And so you have to trust the process and understand that it builds over time. Ounces, inches, pounds. You look up 6 months later, and all of that accumulates into a lot of progress. And I think people struggle to trust the process, myself included, because when is it going to happen for me? I see all these other people, and that goes back to Erika. Comparison is the thief of joy. But trust the process. Don't let the start stop you. And the last one, I say this all the time. This speaks to what Sabrina was saying. Do the head and heart work while you're on the journey. That's the one thing I did not know and understand about this journey, is that there would be head and heart work. Baby. Do the head and the heart work, because what good is it to get to your goal and be banging on the outside and be a whole mess on the inside? Just a mess on the inside. Do the head and heart work. And whatever that looks like. And Ashley, I'm going to beg to differ in love with you just a little bit. Baby, everybody got some stuff. Everybody. We need to figure out what yours is, but everybody has stuff. Whether that stuff is around food, body image, whatever it is. I believe we all have some sort of stuff that we need to work through on this journey.
I agree with that 100%. Because when I tell you, I had no idea that any of this was going to be involved in this journey. I was just like, I'm going to get healthy. I'm going to get my A1C under control. And I had no idea there were layers and layers and layers of trauma and blah that needed to come out until I met y'all, until we started chatting about our journeys. And I was like, well, damn, like, oh my God, like it's been mind blowing for me. But the more and more we talk about things, the more and more I'm healing, and I'm releasing so much that I never even knew that I had. That's what's wild to me. It's so crazy and then there's a lot of people who just focus on the weight loss portion of it. But like all of us have been saying, I encourage you to open up the rest of it. Open up the rest of it.
And I feel like even people who don't have some type of traumatic event, traumatic childhood or something like that, there's still something, like Shannon said, because I'm dealing with my traumatic childhood and all of that other stuff. But, and on most days, that's not a bother. But one of the things that I realized, this also happened in May of last year, my uncle passed away, and that brought up a lot of like interesting feelings surrounding family. And I was like, why is this hitting me so hard? And I've realized it's because I'm not eating, like, because I was a stress eater. I was a sad eater. I was this, that, or whatever. And I could not do that. And so I was sitting here like, what in the world is wrong with me? And then it was like Mother's Day and all of these things. I was a mess. And I realized that it was because, oh, girl, you can't eat your feelings anymore. So now you just got to deal with them. So, it's not always because, you had a bad childhood or you went through some traumatic event or anything like that. Sometimes it's just like, I can't eat what I want to eat, and that makes me sad. So, you
have to feel your feelings now.
Yes, absolutely. Mm-hmm. That is so right, Brian. Navigating the world obese is a traumatic event in our society, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm. It really is. I did not have a traumatic childhood, but I had a lot of, and I was in a larger body later in life. Mm-hmm. So I started gaining weight in my 30s after I came off of birth control. I have PCOS, but I have a lot of shame around letting myself get so big. I was sharing not too long ago, I was cutting out the sizes from my clothes. I've been going through clothes that are too big. There's some clothes with no sizes. I cut them out.
Who would you hide them from, Shannon?
I did too. Shannon, I did too.
I cut the size out because I didn't want to see it. I didn't want to be reminded of it. I was ashamed of it. And
they were my 4Xs. I cut the 4X tags off.
I've only just stopped cutting the tags out of my clothes. Always cut them out. Always.
Wow.
Shannon, what were you talking about?
It was itchy. Wasn't itching me.
Shannon, what were you talking about that you were saying you disagreed with me with? I didn't understand what you were saying.
That everybody has stuff. That it doesn't matter who you are. Everybody's got something on this journey that they need to unpack with like somebody on the couch.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. That's why I'm saying therapy and everything. I mean, therapy is wonderful.
For everybody. People who are walking around here, even people in this community who walking around here thinking they ain't got nothing.
That's why I said like healthy people. That's why I said healthy people need therapy. Mm-hmm. Like it's not just us. It's like everybody. Therapy is therapeutic.
Mm-hmm. Actually, it's funny because as we're talking about quotes, one of my favorite quotes is a lot of the people that are in therapy are in there because they're trying to learn how to deal with people who think they don't need it.
100%.
Yeah, that's why I wanted to ask you, Shannon, because I was like, oh no, I think she misunderstood what I was saying. No, I mean,
probably did.
Here's the thing.
My bad.
No, girl, you're fine. But my thing is that some people will think they're 100% healthy mentally, and there's something that happened, whether it's in elementary school, that if they were to go talk to a therapist, they would go, ding, ding, ding. Oh, this is why I am the way that I am as an adult. Like,
yeah.
Right. It's therapy. I don't know. Therapy.
My mother is one of those people. She thinks everyone else has something wrong with her. Mm-hmm. But she's the problem. But the rest of us are in therapy.
Yeah. Right. My first meeting with my therapist, and I love her. I'm never giving her up unless she retires. But my very first session with her, I went through all of the, the childhood abuse, the all of the things. And I got to the end. I probably talked for like 20 minutes. I got to the end. I was like, well, beyond that, I'm pretty well adjusted. And she said, what makes you think that? And I was like, oh, immediately I was just like, how dare you?
I have to say, my therapist is the same way. I'm like, I feel like I'm doing well. She's like, do you? And I'm like, I mean, I thought it wasn't until you said it like
Why
that.
did you say that?
Like, well, let me second guess that. That's like them saying, now tell me about your feelings. And you're like, no, you tell me because obviously you're seeing something I'm not seeing.
I love it. While we were actually chatting, something else came up to me that it had a huge impact on my journey. So, and I've been open and talked about this before, but prior to starting this journey, this go around, I used to speak very, very negatively about myself and to myself, almost vicious. And I cannot remember who it was, but someone in our community said, "You can't hate yourself healthy." And that hit me like a ton of bricks. I mean, it floored. I was like, I sat back and I was like, it was like one of those defining moments in.
Sounds like Jay.
Yeah.
I feel like it was either Shannon, you, Sabrina, Jay, or Mike, or Brian that said this in a live I was listening to, or a live I was a part of. I can't remember. And they said, "Have you said anything positive about yourself today?" And I was like, no. I don't remember whose live it was, but I remember hearing it. I don't remember who it was, but I was like, wow, no. Like,
well, and think about it. Who better to be nice to you than yourself?
Absolutely.
Right? Because if anyone else in here has kids, we teach our kids to be kind, right? You would hate to hear them say something like that about themselves.
Yep.
So we should be the first ones, the first prime example to not speak that way about ourselves.
Yeah.
My daughter and I get her to do affirmations every day. I don't know if anybody's seen my TikTok, but I'm like, "You are beautiful." And she repeats it over and over. And one day I was like, I never say these things to myself ever. Like, I can't tell you the last time I ever had. I mean, I'll be like, yeah, I'm proud of myself, but like, I've never done it. But I'm with you, Liz. Like, I'm sitting here teaching my kid and I'm like, I'm not even doing it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What's that? The longest relationship you're ever going to have is with yourself. Right? Take care of you. Love you. So working on it, but that you can't hate yourself healthy. I mean, floored.
So true.
So that's, for me, that one changed the game for me. That's what I've said about this journey. I try to talk to, yes.
Brian.
Brian's always dropping gems. Shannon,
I was about to say he's dropping gems tonight.
Yeah, Dr. Brian.
Dropping gems.
Dr. Brian.
Yeah. Jay, I mean, Jay's like the GLP-1 Buddha, right? Like, Jay is always
the guru.
There's so many of us. There's so many people in this community that just are always just, I don't know, like there's certain people that resonate with you like a little bit more, right?
Yeah.
It's
finding your people.
Yes, find your people. Exactly. Perfect example. Find your people. But does anybody else have anything that they wanted to add? Or did we all go? We all went, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
Okay. So this one comes from Ashley. She's like panicked. Ashley wants to know, what has changed mentally for you since starting on a GLP-1?
Am I supposed to go first?
If you want to.
So I think for me, so I'm with Erika. I have a lot of childhood trauma that I still, I'm about to be 38 and I'm still trying to heal my childhood trauma. I'm still trying to heal the fact that people have said mean things to me and stuff. I had postpartum depression. I was so bad that I was in therapy for over a year and on meds. It was really dark. And so I was on meds and in therapy for so long, and I swear I started taking a GLP-1 and I'm not saying that it can't make anybody anxious or anything like that, but I'm saying for me mentally, I'm at a better place than I was before I started my GLP-1. So for me mentally, I just feel, I don't want to say happier with myself because obviously I have a long way to go, but I feel more confident and I feel more, I'm not downing myself as much as I was. So it's almost like I'm building self-confidence and just becoming a happier version for myself. So for me, it's that. And I'm being a better mom for my kid because I'm happier and want to do things more and don't want to sit inside anymore mentally because I'm just drowned, if that makes sense. So I think for me, it's that.
Yeah. For me, kind of what we were talking about before. It's like showing up for yourself. I never felt worthy of it before. And this journey and this community has showed me that I am. And I finally believe it. I finally believe it. So that's been it's been a big, big part of who I was for a long time. And I'm grateful because it's such a huge change going from where I was before of not feeling worthy and not showing up for myself to I don't even have to choose that anymore. It's just how I feel. I don't have to be like, oh, no, just this is how you should be thinking. I just naturally feel that way now. So I feel like that's been the biggest change for me mentally, is now I feel worthy of love and care and all of it. So.
Well, hopefully you know that you always were.
Yeah.
No.
Thank you. Yeah, I was, but it took this for me to realize that I was.
For me, I would say that I am a lot less anxious about showing up in the world. I had a lot of, and still do to a certain extent, but I had a lot of social anxiety that stemmed from being around people and taking up space and all of that. Especially being in new places, being around people that I don't know, and, always feeling like someone's looking at me. They may not even be paying attention, but like I had a lot of anxiety about just moving through my daily life. And I don't have that anymore. Not to say there aren't situations that make me feel anxious sometimes, but just that ongoing baseline level of anxiety that used to be constant. I don't have that anymore. Thankfully.
I love it.
So
that's amazing. I feel you on the space thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I feel like that's a hard one to get over.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. One of my favorite things about Erika is we had that May meetup, right? And she was anxious about it, like not like it was very, very much outside of her comfort zone. Mm-hmm. And she showed up scared. She showed up anxious, but she showed up.
I showed up with my emotional support husband.
But she did
and it was a lot for me. It was a lot. And even in that moment, I think I'm better now, but even in that moment, like I'm like standing off to the side, looking at people having conversations, like, hearing their conversations and wishing I was a part of it, but I'm going to stay on over here because I don't want to insert myself. Like, yeah, very much.
Well, I saw her standing up to the corner. I didn't even know her that well, but went over, I like tackle hugged her and I was like, hi.
You tackled me when I first came in the door. I hadn't even given my ticket yet, Sabrina.
That tracks.
Wait, are you coming to Atlanta?
I am.
Yeah. So it's yeah, I give tackle hugs. But yeah, that was
I kind of feel sorry. I kind of feel like the medication should come with some sort of warning on the box saying, the physical journey is going to be nothing compared to the mental journey you are going to undertake, because that has just been the most shocking thing for me. What a mental journey this is, and how much, really, if you want to heal, how much mental work you have to do to get through this. And like you said, Ashley, you talked about how it felt like your brain opened up when you started on GLP, and it's almost like your brain was so closed before that you couldn't process all the mental stuff, and now your brain is opened up and you can.
But it's crazy because with all this opening, this goes back to the therapy. It's like I need an outlet. And I do feel like being on lives and talking to people and stuff, but I'm like, it's almost like you need it all. You need to talk about it. Like what Sabrina said, you need couch time because it's It's a lot.
Yeah.
So I got to touch on what my AI Darian friends just said. How many of us thought life would be the best if only we were skinny?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, because I could tell you right now, every time that I would try it, my life would be so much better. Everything would be so much easier if I could just be skinny. And I would pray, God, please let me be skinny one more time. Please, please, please. I promise I won't mess it up this time. Lord, please let me be skinny one more time. I thought that would fix all of the things. That's so true. That is so true.
I think for me, I finally feel like my brain and I are friends. Like we're finally on the same team. In all sorts of things, not just as far as the lifestyle change, but through my sobriety, through how I eat and how I view food, how I value my gym time. Like everything just feels very copacetic versus before. It kind of felt like I was always battling something, an invisible something, but it just always felt like this force field against what I truly wanted. And I know we're not talking about sobriety, but that's really a big component of my journey.
Sure.
And overcoming that invisible evil, part of it, like having everything just work now, I feel like what Ashley said, I have a confidence that I've never experienced before, even with gastric bypass. I'm kind of more of now, like, I hate to use the YOLO kind of phrase, but I'll say, like, what do I have to lose? When I participated in that documentary last year, I was like, why not?
Tell us about the documentary. Yeah, we don't know this.
So it was with the New York Times, and it was based around GLP-1s. The Weight of the World is what it's called. And so there were 3 characters, myself, a gentleman who was single, and then a teenage girl. And each one of us were on different versions of GLP-1. So they did a really nice job on the story of what weight loss has looked like through the years, the decades of different versions of it, why each one of us chose a GLP-1 and how it was working for us. And we did. We had those conversations that were about our past or what brought us to this point. And the one big blessing I got out of participating in that and being vulnerable and saying the hard things was I didn't realize that I would benefit, almost like therapy, talking about my history with my mom and how she put on me her projections that brought on issues with food and whatnot. And I didn't realize that was going to happen. I thought I was just going to participate. It'd be kind of weird to be on TV. And that was really the first, like, I think I'm actually healing something here.
Yeah.
Where my brain's finally like, we're on the same page. Like we're doing this. And the clarity with sobriety gives you that, where I can think through those things now and realize I can not get over it, but I can heal those sides of me and be better. And unfortunately, it took being in a documentary to get there, but
Maybe you got there. I mean, no matter how, you got there. That's good.
And that was terrifying to do. Let me tell you, you want to talk about getting outside your comfort zone?
Yeah.
Have a film crew come to your house.
Oh, gosh. Yeah. That'd be interesting.
So.
Definitely outside my comfort zone.
Yeah. I used to think doing TikTok lives was out of my comfort zone.
So now I know where I recognize Liz from because I watched that documentary.
Oh, okay.
And
cool.
I don't think I follow you on TikTok. I will after this, but I was like, gosh, this lady looks so familiar.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, that was a great documentary. I was glad.
I thought they did a really nice job. I was impressed.
Yeah.
I felt like they did a well-rounded job versus I wasn't sure which angle they were going to take. And I kind of joked when our year mark came up. I was like, are we going to do an update episode? Because I don't look like that person.
Yeah.
They're not, but that's okay.
So talking about our mental status, my doctor is very wise. And when I went to her and said, I'm trying to lose weight, I'm doing all the things and I just can't make the needle move. I was still on insulin from being diagnosed with diabetes. And I said, I read this thing about Mounjaro, and, would you be comfortable prescribing that for me? And she said, yeah, Mindy, if we don't get you off insulin, I had weaned myself down with her guidance, but I was still on insulin. And she said, if we don't get you off that, it's going to be really hard for you to lose. She said, but I have one condition. And I'm like, what? And she said, you have to go to therapy because you have gained and lost 100 pounds multiple times. And she didn't say it in this many words, but basically, girl, go get your mind right. And so I started therapy pretty much at the same time I started Mounjaro. And I met with my therapist this Tuesday, and she's like, Mindy, I think you're doing so well, and you've worked through a lot of things, and I'm gonna offer you to come every other week now. So I feel like I've graduated to like level 2.
That's a big stepping stone in therapy.
It is. It's a big deal.
It's huge.
So yeah.
That's kudos to your physician though.
She's great.
Provider, yep.
Yeah,
100%.
she's great. One of the epiphanies that I had during therapy and just burst into tears right then and there was, my therapist was asking me, what was one of the things that made my life so difficult that I was using food to self-medicate. And it was so ironic. I said, well, walking through life as an obese person, because at my highest, not this time, but at my highest, I was over 300 pounds. And I said, walking through life as an obese person is just so stressful. Several people have talked about thinking about how much space you're taking up and, am I going to fit? Are people going to look at me? All those things. I was like, that was just so much pressure on my body and my mind. And, food was like a release. And I'm like, oh my God, I was taking the very poison, the metaphor, but the very poison to try to heal myself. I was like, what in the world was wrong with me? I mean, I have the disease of obesity. That's what was wrong with me. And, all that, I haven't had the urge to, I guess we're allowed to say the B word, binge. We're not on well, maybe we're on TT too, but I haven't had the desire to do that in almost a year now. So that's my mental shift.
That's amazing.
It is.
That's powerful. Very powerful. I love that. Did we all go with that one?
No, I haven't.
Okay.
I think for me, the biggest thing mentally is I've got my confidence back. I lost my confidence.
Yeah.
Because I feel like I lost myself, part of myself along the way. And rediscovering confidence, Shannon, has been something else. Like, I love her. I've missed her. I've missed her a lot. And she's different though, because the last time I saw her, she was in her early 30s. This is my speed limit year, y'all. I'm in my speed limit year.
55.
And so yes, 55, baby. I'll be 55 in June. So I just kind of figuring out who that person that I last saw at 32, who she is at 55 and what that looks like, how she gonna navigate the world. I think is just like, that's the journey I'm embracing kind of alongside shedding the LBs and getting healthier. So
I've never thought about that, Shannon, like losing ourselves. Like I agree with that.
Behind the shame, I mean, and I know, Ashley, you come into my life, but the picture of me in the blue, I was working a conference. I'd been on the med like 2 weeks when that picture was taken. You couldn't have told me I was that big.
Right.
There was no way.
Yeah, it's almost odd, isn't it? Like, you see yourself in the mirror and it's like, you don't see yourself like that. But then you see pictures of yourself and you're like, wait a minute. Wait, I'm really that, I hate to say use the word big, but I'm with you on that. Like I saw my picture the first time, and I was like, when I'd gotten to my heaviest, and I was like, I don't see that in the mirror. Like, it is astonishing what you see and what your brain almost doesn't wrap around.
Yeah, I was like that too. And when I look at pictures of me at my heaviest, it's not just the weight that I didn't see, my skin and like what they say, like my countenance was different. Like even when I'm smiling, I feel like the smile didn't reach my eyes. Like I felt like I looked unhealthy. And I know it's hard for me knowing me. You know, I can't look at somebody else and say they look unhealthy, but I can look at myself and I'm like, oh, you were hurting, baby, in so many ways. You were unhappy. You were in pain. Like it was written all over your skin. So like, that's the big thing with me. But at the time, you couldn't tell me I wasn't fine. Like, you know, you couldn't tell me. So that part, you know, but yeah, I'm looking, I'm like, yeah, I really thought I was cute, girl.
At least you thought you were
almost
cute.
like we were. Oh, sorry, go on.
I didn't think I was.
It's almost like we were all looking in, you know, those mirrors, like those distortion mirrors at carnivals. Like we were all looking in them, and we had no idea what we really looked like.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, Shannon, I also, when I got to my biggest, I didn't think that I looked cute, you know, because like I said, you couldn't tell her that for me, I didn't believe that I was.
And I applaud the people, because there are others in the community who were like, oh, you can tell me I wasn't fine. And I was like, you could tell me I wasn't. And I would absolutely believe.
I was telling me I wasn't fine.
Me too. I was negatively being like, girl, you ugly. God, no. Like,
I didn't think I was ugly, but I was like, you look a mess. You're not cute. What is cute about the way you look?
Do you feel beautiful now? Like, do you feel beautiful now?
I see it coming through. And I definitely am more confident. I went to a ball at the beginning of this month, and I actually enjoyed taking the pictures.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And it almost didn't matter where I was in the group picture, because before I was behind and you just see my head, and I because, you know, you're only seeing here up. And
I'm like, how can I hide?
Yep.
Where can I hide in this? And I'd be like, oh, can I get on the side? Because if I get on the side, I can get the picture and then cut half of me off. Yeah. And look at that. I done lost like 125 pounds.
Well, actually, I'm 5'10", so I'm usually the tallest person. So I'm always in the back.
In the back. Oh, that's too funny. But yeah, all of this is just it's just hitting home for me, because every single one of these things is so true. And I've had these thoughts. And it just really drives home that we were never really alone, you know? We just never had like this space.
It's almost like, I hate to say that obesity brought us all together, but I mean, it kind of did. Like, I wouldn't have found my people that I've found on this journey had I not become my biggest and been on a GLP-1. Like, I would have not have met all you fabulous people out in this world had I not become. So it's like, in a sense, I have to thank my bigger self, because I found such amazing people.
So I struggled with this a little bit. So and I think a lot of you guys can agree with this, I would avoid the doctor for many, many years, because I just didn't want to hear them. I mean, we all know you go to the doctor because your elbow hurt or your neck was whatever. And then it's, well, let's talk about your weight. It's because you're a fan, you know? So I stopped going, because I'm like, I don't want to listen to my doctor talking to me about why I'm not a reason why I'm not even there. So I stopped going. And then I went, and because I didn't go to the doctor, I ended up with a diagnosis of type 2 diabetes. It just kept getting worse and worse and worse. And then I was furious with myself. I was enraged with myself because you were so weak and because you were such a coward. You couldn't go and now you're diabetic. Like, look at what you've done to yourself. Like, it just, right? That whole self-talk that we were just chatting about. But it was in January of 23, it was bigger diabetic Sabrina who said, I don't want this life anymore. Right? Like I'm the one who showed up for myself. Like that Sabrina is who showed up for me, you know? So I very much still love and I'm thankful for bigger Sabrina. And yeah, I showed up for me, you know, and I'm thankful. I'm thankful that I did.
Have you seen that new trend where everybody's heaviest is hugging their weight that they are now?
Yes.
Dude, I think that is the most powerful thing I could ever see on that app, or one of them, because we're the size we are now isn't who got us where we are now. And I think that's like what you're saying. I think that's like it's just a powerful thing.
Yeah.
I've been wanting to do one of those. I just haven't I haven't sat still most of this week. But Sabrina, I'll say my story is a little different. I went to the doctor. I was going, listen, honey, I had every physical, every exam. I was showing up, but I was also like this as I got the lecture about my weight. And I want to see you, you know, smaller when you come see me next year. You do realize you're 20 pounds heavier than you were last year. You know, what are you going to do? You know, this is unhealthy. And it was never a horrible kind of lecture. And it wasn't finger wagging. It was just kind of like, here are the facts about where you are with your weight right now. What are you going to do about it? But there was shame. And I was just like, I'm going to work on it. I was always I left off. So I'm going to work on it. Yeah. And yeah, finally decided to work on it.
I love it.
I have to go back and I had some kidney problems in about 2016. And I went off to see the renal specialist, and she just immediately launched into, you need to lose weight, blah, 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 which I did. That was fair enough. But that was apparently the whole cause of everything. That was the cause of all of my kidney problems. Oh, and by the way, take this tablet. And then now the kidney problems have come back again, exactly the same thing. And I've had all the other tests done, to rule out anything else that it might be related to. And I have to go back and see exactly the same person next month. So I can't wait to go, well, here I am. Now, what are you going to blame it on?
Yeah.
So Mimi, the retatrutide isn't helping?
No. So it's and actually I think it's, this is a really good example of correlation doesn't mean causation. If I had not had exactly the same kidney problems before I ever tried a GLP, because I was on Saxenda for about 3 months in 2018, and I was on Ozempic for about 3 months in 2022. And then I lost access. So it's incredibly hard to get any access to any GLPs in Australia if you're not diabetic. They really ration them very heavily, and all compounds have been completely banned for over 12 months now. So it's incredibly hard to get access to these drugs. And I kind of went on them when we first got them registered, and then that's usually the scenario. They get registered, lots of people go on them, we get shortages, and then the TGA, which is our FDA equivalent, goes, oh, righto, we've got shortages. Well, that's it. Nobody can have it now unless they're diabetic. So if I hadn't previously been diagnosed with exactly the same kidney issue before I had ever put a GLP-1 in my body, I would have gone down the pathway of, it must be the retatrutide causing the kidney problems. Like that would have been my pathway. I would absolutely have blamed it. So I think it's a really good example of, it's a bit like if you if you Googled how many pregnant women died in the USA last year, it would be some horrendous figure. And you'd think, well, that sounds like something that should be happening in a third world country. But some of those women tragically will have been in car accidents. Some of them, unfortunately, will have had cancer. Their pregnancy actually was nothing to do with their cause of death. It's just that they happened to be pregnant at that time. And so it gets recorded as a pregnancy death. So, I think, I'm kind of grateful that I had the problem beforehand.
Yeah, I just find it interesting because, a lot of times we say that these medicines are kidney protective. They're heart protective, they're kidney protective. And I just find it interesting that that is not the case in your scenario. So that's why I specifically, did retatrutide help at all? Because the narrative here a lot.
Yeah, so I'm actually a nurse practitioner in Australia. So if somebody said to me, okay, here's a patient, what's their renal function, I would immediately go and look at their EGFR, so their glomerular filtration rate from their bloods, and go, okay, as long as that's above 90, that's great. Mine has always stayed above 90, so that very high level. I'm not considered to have any kind of kidney failure or anything like that, but my urine just excretes bucket loads of protein. And when it started happening on the retatrutide trial, the trial site said to me, well, why don't you try cutting back the amount of protein in your diet? So I wasn't having a huge amount. I was having about 90, 100 grams a day. So I dropped down to 60 grams a day for 3 months, and the amount of protein in my urine increased and my hair started to fall out. So I stopped that, and I'm now back on about 90 to 100 a day while I wait for the renal specialist. But when I was obese, I needed to be on blood pressure medications, and blood pressure medications are kidney protective. But now I can't be on them. My blood pressure is only 90 on 60. They tried putting me on half a tablet of the very lowest dose there is of blood pressure medications. My blood pressure dropped to 85 on 55.
Oh, wow.
And I was dizzy. And I've got a 4-month-old granddaughter that I babysit every week, and I didn't feel safe carrying her. And so that's why I'm going back to the renal specialist to see if there's something else they can put me on to try and fix that. But the big raw picture of what you look at, the EGFR as to whether or not you're in kidney failure. Yeah, that's always been above 90 my whole life. I've never ever had an issue with that measurement.
Maybe sorry. Something that popped into my head when you were just speaking about going down, dropping your protein. When you dropped your protein down, did the retatrutide affect you differently when you were taking in less protein? Like, did your side effects increase? Like, what happened?
I definitely had more fatigue. I just didn't feel right. And also, I'm still so heavily appetite suppressed, so heavily appetite suppressed, because that is the thing that you sign yourself up for in a clinical trial, that you will do their dosing schedule. And grading up was so incredibly difficult. I think I had a period of about 6 weeks during the grading up period where I could not get any solids down at all. I consisted entirely of liquids. It's and that's just what you sign. They tell you, okay, it's not like they didn't warn me. All right, you're going to come in and you're going to be on this dose for 4 weeks, and then we're going to double it to this dose, and then we're going to double it to this dose. And you just kind of by the time you got to week 4, the side effects were just starting to settle, and then boom, you just instantly go onto a double dose, and you go through the whole cycle again. And I honestly, I couldn't have got through it without the GLP community, without the other people in the trial. There's a Reddit forum for people who are in the retatrutide clinical trials, and people who are further ahead in the trial than me, going, if you can, just keep going until you hit the maximum dose, because then everything will settle down. And it did. By the time I got to the end of the first box of the maximum dose, I really don't have any side effects at all of any kind anymore. But those 4 months were so rough, and so many people drop out because of it.
So Mimi, do you know what dose you're on in your trial? You just know, or you just know you're on the maximum dose?
I know. Well, I believe that I'm on the maximum dose. So for my trial, 50% of people got placebo, 50% got the drug, and then of that 50%, 25% went up to the second highest dose, and 25% went up to the absolute max. And I believe that I'm on the absolute max just because when I went from box 4 to box 5, I had that big escalation in side effects again. I think if I'd stayed on the same dose between both box 4 and box 5, things would have settled down. I mean, look, I could be on placebo, and if it's a placebo, then great. I love their placebo and would happily take it for the rest of my life.
That's what I was about to ask you. Like, are you on the actual or are you on placebo? Hey, but it can your brain does some amazing things on tricking. You know, if people are on placebo, they can start thinking that it's kind of interesting.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah. The thing that made me think that I wasn't was because I'd had this previous experience with Saxenda and Ozempic briefly. When you have your first shot, you have to do that at the clinic in front of the clinic staff, and they watch you do it to make sure that you've got the correct technique. And the pen's exactly the same as a Mounjaro pen, auto injector. And as soon as I pressed that button and clicked, and that needle went in, I instantly felt that sting. And I thought, that's the same sting that I've had before with Saxenda and Ozempic. I think I might have got the drug. And then, I knew within about 24 hours that I had got the real thing. Sorry, that was a bit of a digress, wasn't it? Sorry.
No, it's so
that was great.
Yeah, I'm so interested in retatrutide or rotatrutide, however it's supposed to be pronounced.
Yeah, whatever they're going to call it.
Yeah,
I think we were all just very much like,
You call it whatever you want to call it. Someone tried correcting me the other day in my live. I was like, well, tirzepatide's my best friend. I'll call it however I want.
I'm an RN and can't say tirzepatide every time to save my life. It's tirzepatide. Like, so it is what it is.
As long as
I'll just blame it that it's my Australian accent. It's not that I'm pronouncing it incorrectly. That's just how we say it in Australia.
There you go.
I love your accent.
Well, it's so funny. I've got a son that lives in Washington State, and I was over there in February visiting, and we were in Walmart. And my son, if he has to speak to like somebody, a waiter or, a shop assistant in Walmart or something like that, he just puts on an American accent now because otherwise it takes twice as long because you start you accent. Where are you from? Can you say
you
something?
Don't understand those accents. They're just, I don't know. You just sit there and you're just like, okay,
I love it.
Talking, just say words.
Yeah, I could listen to Mimi all day, all day.
Well, actually, funnily enough, I don't post on YouTube, but I do have a separate YouTube channel called Mimi and Oz Reads Books because I have a 16-month-old granddaughter that lives in Washington State. And so I don't want her to forget me. And so every week I read a book, and I have a YouTube channel for her. So you can go to my YouTube channel, Mimi and Oz Reads Books, and I'll just listen to me read books.
Wait a minute. I think that we watched a YouTube video of you the other day. Not like of you reading, because when I came on earlier, I was like, wait a minute, because my daughter likes to watch like random YouTubes, and we like the ones where they'll read. And I swear we listened to a girl that sounded just like you the other day. Was reading a book.
Honestly, they're so unprofessional. Like I'll be reading and I'll go, silly Mimi, she's dropped the book. Hang on a minute.
I swear, like, because I wasn't in the like I was in the bathroom so I could hear it. I wasn't watching it. I swear, I will have to go back on my YouTube and like look it up because now I'm so curious.
That is adorable.
I love that.
I love that too. I don't have
so that's
I'm like, I want to record books of it. I'm not forgotten. I want to leave a legacy.
My son sends me videos of my granddaughter watching me on YouTube, so that's really nice.
Aww. That's adorable.
I love that. I love that.
Amazing.
Sorry, we just went off topic again.
No, like this happens on every panel.
Yeah, that's why I love it though, because it doesn't need to just be the hard-hitting questions, So, I don't even remember where we were. All right. Well, we'll go with Liz's.
I don't think I wrote mine right though.
Okay. Well, we'll do what led you to try a GLP-1?
Oh, okay, yeah. You want me to go first?
Yeah.
So what led me to try it was a rabbit hole I went down in the lipedema community.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't just discussions, but actually seeing progress photos of the same condition I have, lipedema, and women that look very much like my grandmother did.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's different stages of lipedema and different versions. That some people just have it in their legs, some have it in their arms. And I was like, what do I have to lose just to try? At this point, I was over 300 pounds. I was already on a health journey, but I wasn't making much more progress. And I still had lots of pain in my legs. I had all the signs and symptoms, but I couldn't get past that point. So like even just going for my walks took everything out of me. And so when my friend introduced me to it, I kind of joked about that. I was like, well, we're going to give it a shot for a month and maybe it's a placebo, maybe it's not. I don't know. And within the first couple days, the food noise was gone. And I never knew how loud food noise was for me till it shut up. Yeah. And then when my legs started feeling better, you couldn't see the difference yet, but noticing that I just didn't have the same achiness, I describe it as feeling like cement columns. So like I could go a whole, cooking dinner and then I would be done just from standing in the kitchen. So seeing that decrease made me think, I need this. This is not just a weight loss kind of thing that you see on TV. I need this to survive, or else my life isn't going to get better. And I mean, that just sent me straight into determined to get this and be on it. Because for the first year, I was denied 13 times with my insurance. I was technically a healthy, obese person to them. Make that make sense when you're over 300 pounds.
Yeah.
And then eventually they did change my formulary, and it did include Zepbound because I wasn't diabetic or pre-diabetic. And so that, at least getting over that hurdle, I had access to it. But even getting access with my insurance, I still had to find a pharmacy that had the box, that had my dose. And once you start feeling better, you don't want to go back. I mean, the reduction in inflammation for me was so key that I was like, I need to make sure I have this, some kind of dose for the rest of my life. And I'm very happy for the other women that were transparent and honest about their journeys to, start the process for the rest of us, because there's a diagnosis for lipedema, but there's no medical treatment that is technically covered by insurance. So it's a very weird battle to go into. So, my insurance covers it now for obesity, but as far as lipedema, that was not a thing on their list. And it is transformative, and women of all sizes can have lipedema.
Yeah.
So that's what's baffling, because so many people, like I said, I've just started researching it. So many people suffer from it. Yeah. That's baffling that there isn't approved treatment for it.
The only thing they covered for me was a lymphatic pump. I call it my spacesuit because I literally have to get into it. And I hate using it. And then the only cure per se is a specialized liposuction, which most insurances will just deem cosmetic. So they don't have to cover it. So I was hoping with things like putting it out into the world on a documentary, saying the words lipedema, teaching about it, putting it on social media and being open about it, maybe normalizing it would help that community so that my future of lipedema looks better. So that's what got me started on it. And then all the other perks came along. So.
Well, I commend you for sharing and being vulnerable and just talking about it, right? And spreading the word. And hopefully, I mean, I know it's slow going and everything, but they are starting to see the benefits of GLP-1s in different aspects and areas. I mean, I wish, it's kind of incredible. It's kind of amazing, the things that it has helped that we had no idea, right? There's so many different, I mean, there's aren't they looking at it for addiction? And I mean, there's Alzheimer's. There's so many different things that it's helping with, and it's just incredible.
Yeah, I didn't use it as a tool to overcome my addiction, but I can definitely see how it would have helped. It just turns those cravings off. I mean, in a good way, that I could see where even microdosing or low dosing for people to help get off of something like alcohol, it would help.
Oh, yeah. It hits those reward centers, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. So if you guys haven't liked the live, for those of you in the chat, please do so. Thanks, Derek.
I was like, what button is that on here? Because
Yeah, which we pressing.
And I'll say this also, you can share it. I was looking down while Liz was talking. I just shared it to my Facebook page. So
how did you do that?
I went to Dave's page on Facebook.
Oh.
And there's the share arrow is there. And I shared it to my page. So
that's what I was actively trying to do too. That's why I was looking down too. I was trying to figure out.
I know. I've been trying to not look like I'm ignoring people, but just
I know. Yeah. I was like, how do I share this?
I needed to explain myself.
We are multitasking women.
My husband's in the rest of the house with the kids. I'm like trying to answer him, but not be distracted because I'm sitting in our room. So
yeah, I can't wait till about 10 years from now.
Yes.
When these medications have so many indications.
Yeah.
And and we're going to be, when I say the old people, the kind of medication old people, and be like, back when I first started, there was no access. We had to fight for everything. And now look at y'all. Y'all could just get this like, willy-nilly.
We had to walk 40 miles in the snow to find a pharmacy.
Erika, you need to do your new video series talking about GLP-1s in the future. You need to
with the Nana.
Like, be her. Be Nana. Yeah,
Oh, gosh.
GLP-1.
Yeah, you do.
I don't know what's wrong. I don't know why I'm like that, Shannon. I don't even know. Like, I saw the old filter and I'm just like, I can't wait to be an old busybody. Like, I just can't.
I love it. Between you doing that and LV doing the car conversation, colors in me.
So I did not figure out that, Erika, you're the lady that does those. Shannon said that because you have that filter on. Oh, those crack me up. I love those so much.
Oh my God, that's funny.
Those are the best. Those are the best. But yeah, I can't wait. 10 years from now, these are going to have so many indications. And even actually at that point, even Retatrutide, all that Mimi and Summer have done, they're going to be old. They're going to be old. So I love it. I can't wait.
And who knows, maybe there'll be a different app that's not TikTok. And they'll be like, all those old women came from TikTok to this app.
Right.
I say this all the time. We're going to look back like in 10 years from now, be like, do you remember when we were all on MJ?
Like, that was the old school one.
I know.
I have a lifetime supply. I'm going to be on it forever.
Yeah.
Right.
See, and I say that because I mean, I'd like out of my cold hands, right? Like you're going to pry it out of that. So then I always say, I'm a ride or die for MJ. But then I'm like, because someone else was like, well, what about when Retta comes out? I'm like, all right, well, I mean, I'll ride with MJ until Retta comes.
Right. Well, hopefully, Mike, I know when we get to that point when we have so many different indications for it and then they lose like their patents and all of that stuff, it'll have more access and maybe it'll be like picking up, some of these medications that I have that the insurance doesn't cover it, but it's like $12,
right.
and I'm just like, oh yeah, no problem.
Yeah.
I hope that we can get to that point.
I really do.
We will. It's just, we want it now. And I know those of us, we know how life-changing
for sure.
These medications have been. And for those of us with other kind of secondary conditions that they're helping, that there isn't an indication yet, we know. And we're like, you have no idea.
My thing is like, if I were to I have a 3-year, I just passed my 1 year, but I have a 3-year prior authorization.
Ooh.
And if I ever were to lose coverage, I think that I would probably just go get another job to pay for it. Like I am that much of, I'm not going to go without it. Like I will have to move some stuff around. Like,
but how did you get a 3-year prior authorization?
We'll talk about that.
No. I don't know. When that thing came back, I said, what? Oh, okay.
But I'm hoping that all insurances, when I tell you I'm on one of the best insurances, I'm not joking. Like it is a grandfathered in plan. They don't offer it anymore. Like I've had this insurance for 12 years. Like you can't get it now. And if you did, it'd probably be like $7,000 a month. Like, but because of that, even if I have the best insurance, they don't cover stuff like this. If you have diabetes, so like they don't cover obesity or anything like that. So I'm hoping one day that even if you have these great plans, because look at some of these people that have wonderful plans, they don't have them in their plans because you have to buy in, like their insurance policy has to buy into something totally different.
Yeah.
And I'm so grateful that some people get it for their insurance, but I can't wait for like Shannon, every insurance company to be on the same playing field and everybody to be able to get it.
I feel like I struggle with the fact that obesity is a recognized disease, but insurance is like, nah, it's a vanity thing.
Right.
What?
And I'm like, do y'all realize how many other medications people can come off of if you just pay for this one? Or they can avoid taking if you just pay for this one. Like,
but it's crazy because now we say we have an actual diagnosis for obesity. It's a metabolic disorder, right? But yet we can't get meds for, like every insurance doesn't pay for them. And it's crazy because like you have high blood pressure, you're on hypertension meds, right? You may be able to come down on a dose and stuff like that. And unless something changes, you're able to come off of them. But with obesity, our fat cells have memory. That's why it is so easy to gain weight after. And that's why it's crazy that that you can't, maintenance is a huge thing because our fat cells have memories. Like,
right.
So it's like, and people wonder why people go on maintenance. That's why. That's one of the reasons. Not all of it, but like that's one of the reasons. So it's just kind of, it's interesting when you get to talk to people about maintenance because I'm like, I'm going to stay on it forever. That's my plan because
ever.
I've yo-yoed for so long and there's a reason for that, so it's like.
Actually, I need to share how my brain works. When you said that, I've heard people say, fat cells have memories, is that whatever. But for some reason, when you said that just now, I just had a vision of my fat cells just being like, do you remember?
They're like hanging out, just waiting.
They're like playing hide and seek, like creeping. Oh, does she need me? Nope. Does she need me now? Nope.
They're like
it's the thing that terrifies me the most. It's the thing that terrifies me the most about the trial coming to an end because they cut us off cold turkey. So I get to week 104. There's no weaning. I'm on the maximum dose. I stay on that till week 104. Cut off. Bye. See you later. Retatrutide won't be approved. I live in a country where it's almost impossible to get, with no compounds, and unless you're diabetic, it's almost impossible to get a GLP. The only thing that I could maybe get back onto would be Wegovy has just been approved in Australia for pre-existing cardiovascular disease and obesity, but you have to have a BMI of 27. So I would have to regain back up to a BMI of 27 because my BMI is only 23 now to qualify. And the reason that I got into the retatrutide trial is that I'm in the cardiovascular arm and I had a stroke 20 years ago when I was 40, which fortunately I completely recovered from. So that is probably going to be my only way of getting any long-term GLP. So yeah, as ridiculous as it sounds, I'm going to have to regain weight, wait till I get to the BMI of 27 and then go, hello, pre-existing cardiovascular disease, BMI 27, please give me Wegovy.
So Mimi, they won't approve you for Wegovy if you can prove that you had a higher BMI before and you've had cardiovascular disease?
Correct. Yeah, correct. Because I've never had it. So the only drugs we have approved for obesity in Australia is Saxenda, the daily one, and that was all we had for many, many years. And then we've just had Wegovy approved for obesity with that caveat. And then I think there's a civil. We don't have Zepbound in Australia. We have Mounjaro, and Mounjaro is the same. Mounjaro is for diabetics and Mounjaro for obesity, but it's also got some sort of a. I think yeah, it's the same sort of thing. You have to have a BMI of over 27 or over 30 or something like that.
BMIs make me so angry because I just feel like they are outdated. They do not take into consideration anything but your height and your weight. It bothers me so. There are people that have like 4% body fat, but yet they're obese because of their muscles and the way I can get in a tizzy over it because I'm just like, it does not show you everything.
It doesn't show you anything. You are about it. I get it. Like, we need to change the subject because I'm going to go off about the BMI. It drives me crazy.
Yeah, same.
It drives me nuts.
And Mimi, I don't know if you're familiar with Summer, who is in the Reditrutide.
Yes, I've met Summer. Yeah, Tay put us together, which was lovely.
Yes, she finishes next month.
Yes, I'll be keenly watching to see how she gets on.
Yeah,
but again, she may. I don't know. I mean, compounds is looking pretty dire for you guys as well. Quite frankly, Novo Nordisk lobbied the Australian government hard to get rid of them. Yeah, and then unfortunately we had our Ozempic cowboy who was making Ozempic in the bathtub, and people ended up in hospital, and so that was the absolute end of it.
Yeah.
I don't think I ever heard about this. I'm gonna have to go research this.
Oh
yeah. Go Google Ozempic cowboy, and I think he was using like a Nutri-Ninja or something like that. Had all these pictures of this filthy room with a home blender, and it was awful.
Oh,
but it's unfortunate. And interestingly, he had been shipping the medication overseas, and I think it was somebody in Texas who alerted the Australian equivalent of the FDA and said, this stuff is dangerous, you need to do something about it.
But what's sad is that there are people who will fall victim to that because of the lack of access. There are people who are, they're doing the peptides and all of these things, and you're buying from places that are not regulated. They're not. It's just unfortunate, but like I said, it's symptomatic because people are desperate. They want to see change. They want to, they don't want to be the way that they are, and they're just seeking it out. And it's just so unfair when you think about the lack of access.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, completely. Because we've said it. I'm not going back. Whatever that looks like, however that is going to look, I'm not going back.
Right.
So it's.
Yeah. That Shan and that Shan, she won't look like that again. We're not going back to that.
No, I'm not.
It's not even just the like what we look like. It's not even the weight for me. It's the less pain. It's my knees feel 10 years younger. I'm about to be 38, and I was like I hate to say, like an 80-year-old woman barely able to get out of bed in the morning. Like I'd have to inch my way out of bed because I was in so much pain. Like I don't want to go back. I won't.
No, I won't. Whatever that looks like. So.
Actually, I don't know if you saw my comment in the chat. I really thought you were like mid-20s. I had no idea, but you were almost.
I did not see that comment, but I appreciate it very much.
I thought you were younger too.
Oh, I love you guys. Yeah. I'll be 38 at the end of this month.
Yeah, I did too.
I appreciate y'all. Thanks for having me up.
I've got one from Erika that I love. I love this question. So I wanted to know, or Erika wants to know, what limiting belief did you have about yourself that this journey helped you let go of?
I'll go.
Okay.
That it wasn't going to work. That it wasn't going to work. This was just going to be one more thing that they said was going to lower my A1C, and maybe it was going to do it for a little while, but then it wasn't going to keep. And it was just another medicine. medicine. And
I think for me, this was going to be the last thing I tried. And if this didn't work, I was going to have to give up because mentally I was done.
Mm-hmm.
But I knew I had to do something for my kid because I wanted her to have the best mom. But like mentally, I was just like, this is it. I've tried everything. If this doesn't work, then I guess this is just my life, how my life is.
Mm-hmm.
I think I felt the same way, Ashley. I didn't want to be 80, hunched over, really probably not able to walk or do much because I'm heavy, my knees are bad, diabetes, all the things. So it was that it wasn't going to work. And baby,
it's working.
It's working. She hit that 12.5 bay.
Baby, she is bay. She is bay. We locked in. Ain't no switching up.
12.5 yet.
I love 12.5.
I need.
You said you haven't, Liz?
No, and I just should try. I don't know.
Are you on 10?
Mm-hmm.
Honey, see now I've done 3 boxes of like every dose except 2.5, at least 3 boxes. But my blood sugar wasn't good and controlled until I got to 12.5. But baby, she's bae. We're finishing month 8 on 12.5.
Oh wow!
Maybe she'll get me to Wonderland.
And
I have a petty goal of Wonderland of like 199. Like if I can just get to 199.
It's not a petty goal.
It sounds really vain. Like, oh,
No,
as long as there's
It's not.
Yeah.
Wonderland is like everybody's excited.
It's not a petty goal.
It feels.
Let me tell you, Liz, when it hits 199.9, you better still be counting it.
I'm good. I'm good.
It's not a petty goal. I don't think that it should be your only goal, but I think it's a valid goal.
Yeah.
Valid.
I couldn't tell you the last time I ever saw one in the front. Like,
I've never seen it as a adolescent or an adult. So
yeah, I would say like freshman year of high school.
Yeah, it's been over 12 years for me.
Yeah,
I can't fathom it.
Well, we're in kilos, so we don't. We're in kilos, so we don't have Wonderland. But our exciting time is when you drop from 100 kilos to 99, which is about the 200-pound mark anyway. Right. So when you go from triple digits to double digits, that's exciting.
Ooh, I love that.
I only know kilos from the gym. That's the only
from the weight.
And still, I use a calculator.
Anytime that somebody comes to my chat and they're like, I've lost 10 kilos. I'm like, okay, 2.2,
right?
I'm like back to my RN days of like, okay, times 2.2. Like, okay.
And I feel like that's where I picked it up because I did a few semesters of nursing school. I feel like that's where I picked it up. And I'm like, I can calculate it in my head pretty quick.
And you're like, wait, okay.
And see, when they come in,
I think we should do a combination. We should do a combination. Like I would say, I've lost 71 pounds and I'm now 60 kilos. It sounds so much more impressive than I've lost 33 kilos.
That's funny.
I love it.
Yeah, I'm with Mike. It's the stones.
Yeah,
like people come in and are like, I'm 2 stone down.
Yeah, I'm like, what is that?
I always have to Google it.
The UK uses stones. We don't use stones in Australia. We just go for straight kilos.
Right.
Yeah, we don't use stones.
It's so confusing. I'm like, I can't math today. I don't know.
It's too
funny. I think there's 16 pound in a stone from memory.
I think it's 14.
You have wonderful memory.
Look.
Well, I'm
like,
old
let me
enough
Google
that
this
when I went to primary school in Australia, so I think you would call it elementary school.
Mm-hmm.
I had just finished. We had just finished learning imperial measurements, so pounds and stones and miles and all that kind of stuff. And then they went, "Oh, Australia's going metric now, so now you have to learn metric." So I was lucky that I learned both systems, but my kids only ever learnt metric. They're totally lost.
Mm.
Yeah.
Well, going back to the 12.5, if there had never been a shortage, I would have stayed on 12.5.
Really?
Like forever. Oh yeah, 12.5. I mean, 12.5 and I go real bad together. Like we went together. Like I love it. It was perfect for me. Perfect. Like I felt amazing. Like it was the best I've ever felt in my life. Well,
right. I'll try it.
Everybody's different.
Do you have some, Liz?
That was it. That's all it took. All right, I'll try it.
I feel like everybody likes, they're like, it is that girl.
Yeah, it is that girl. But
She's gay.
Yeah. And so, but because of it, because of the shortage, I went up. I had to go up to 15, and I mean, 15 is out. I've been on it over a year, but I tried to go back down to 12.5 when the shortage was like resolved, and then my A1C went up, and I was like, "Damn it!"
Oh, wow.
I was so betrayed.
Right.
I'll have to see how I do with the appetite suppression part, because if I don't hit a certain amount of calories, I can't power lift. Like I have to maintain.
Yeah.
And I toe a very weird line of like gaining strength for one goal and then losing LBs the other way. So I'm in a weird spectrum of that.
It's one of the hardest things to do. On building muscle while losing fat is extremely difficult.
Yeah.
Extremely difficult.
It's exhausting.
Yes.
It's
not rewarding, right? Like it's not rewarding at all because gains are slow. And I'm talking, it takes months and months and months to see any kind of progress.
Yeah.
So,
and then you think you gain and you're like, yeah. And you're like, and then it goes away and you're like, Dad blasted, it was just water. I mean, at least it wasn't fat, but like, dang gummit, I thought it was a muscle.
Well, and I've had to learn. I've had to learn with my powerlifting and my lipedema that my hard workouts will result in significant up in my weight. Like I can gain 10 pounds overnight in fluid easily, and I'm not exaggerating. So I've had to learn with my tools of how to manage my lipedema with my meals and my work. Like all of it combined has to make a happy medium so that I don't have the extremes.
I said that's a lot.
A perfect storm though.
It is, but it works if you follow through. That's the key. And it gets tiring. I'm not gonna lie. There are times I'm like, I don't want to do anything. But thankfully I did find a vibration plate helps a lot, and that's quicker. So I can get on there for 10 minutes a day, and that helps significantly without spending too much brain power on it.
But I think you have to give yourself grace. And if you don't feel like, if one day you're like overwhelmed, like I think you do kind of have to give yourself grace because you're working hard at something that not all of us have to worry about. And it's like, it can overbearingly be hard mentally. So I think you do have to give yourself grace and like kind of, I'm not saying have a rest day, but I'm saying like, not to go as hard one day because you're like mentally you need a break,
Well, and learning how to have proper rest days. Right. Honestly, where it's a mental game too, right? So like being okay with, I'm going to rest today. I'm going to listen to my body. I'm going to pay attention to what it's saying. And like you said, either give myself grace, but also listen and say, I'm going to not go extreme today. The mental game for all these things, I think anyone can agree in here that can be the hardest factor.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And it gets tiring. I don't lie about that part at all.
All right. So before we move to something else, on my piece of
love
mail,
your notepad.
I have my little piece of mail. So I have all the quotes. I have the TikTok videos, people hugging, Google me reading Ozempic Cowboy. So you said something about the vibration plate. What were you saying about the vibration plate?
So, it's you can stand on it. Some people work out on it. Some people sit on it. I use it for 10 minutes a day standing. You want to keep your knees soft, not stiff. And it helps move the lymphatic fluid.
Okay.
So anyone can benefit from it, but for people with lipedema, that's our biggest struggle. So if I work out really hard, my legs start to
there. my vibration plate is right there. I'm scared to
wag my finger.
Oh, don't be scared. Don't be scared. I love mine. I have two right over here.
I love it.
Was that
and I learned to use the program.
No, but the instructions were on top of it.
Ashley, you didn't have to bust me out like that.
Not in the box. She's like, wait, where is it? Where is it? Let me see.
No, I'm dying because they really are. They like literally are.
Miss ma'am.
When you get off tonight, go on there for 10 minutes.
Get on it right now.
No, I wouldn't be able to do that because sometimes it makes my teeth shatter.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, that's hilarious. I have tears in my eyes. She really busted me out.
I mean, mine
Sabrina said it was still in the box.
But for anyone, it's beneficial for lymphatic movement. Which is good for anyone.
Thank you. I wrote it down and I put "don't lock your knees." Okay, got it.
Yeah, it'll feel weird. You won't get hurt, but I feel like you can feel the edema more if you're bent.
Okay.
Your knees.
Shannon, you said you have 2?
Yeah.
Why do you have 2?
So one was a sample. I have actually had a vibration plate since November of 2023. I used to be an affiliate for the Body Clinic.
Yeah.
And inside their Facebook group, they used to talk about it all the time. And so I got one, and I was following a young lady on Instagram who used to always talk about lymphatic drainage.
Mm-hmm.
She's a kind of a lymphatic drainage guru and talking about opening up, moving fluid in your body, how to release it, opening up your termini, all these things. And so I started using my vibration plate in November of 2023. And then like it kind of seeped into the community, like, you know, kind of a year ago this time, but I had had one for a while and I got that one off of the Zon, but I have 2 more. I have one that both actually, the other 2 I've gotten from TikTok.
I just got that.
Is there one that you like?
They are all actually different. So my original one is just kind of plain. They all have resistance bands with them, but it's kind of plain. The other one that I got, the newest one I got from TikTok Shop, I did a video. It's a mini one. So technically you can carry it, you could take it somewhere. And the other one I have downstairs is actually 3D. It's from Lifeform. I got it off TikTok Shop, but it will go front and back, side and side. It's a 3D plate, so it does like a whole bunch more.
Oh, that's cool.
And you do it
it's a bougie plate.
How many times a week?
So first of all, I've worked myself up to 30 minutes. So I stand on, so like the main one, my original one I have here, it is behind my sofa, but in front of a television.
Got it.
So I will stand on it while I'm watching the news or a 30-minute TV show. Makes it go fast. It'll only give you 10-minute increments, but then I just hit go again. But you have to work up to the 30 minutes because you can't do 30 minutes. Most people cannot do 30 minutes off the bat. You have to work.
Yeah, that's pretty high.
Yeah.
Your feet don't go numb?
No. I just feel funny when I first step off. You know how you feel funny when you first step off?
Yeah.
That's it. And by the time I walk 20 steps, it's gone. But I love it.
I want to get one.
I'm thinking about getting one as well.
Yeah, that's what Chris said when he got off of it. But he's so funny. He got on there and he was like, I feel like I'm twerking.
Love it.
I even used it after I had back surgery back in August, and I couldn't stand on it, but I could lay my legs across it, and that helped get the fluid out of my legs post-surgery because they fill you with fluid, which doesn't help me at all. And that was a nice bonus at the end, that having that option. So
okay, y'all have talked me into it. Cool.
But it's a great tool, especially for lymphatic drainage.
Oh yeah, huge.
Now we need the Glamour videos on the vibration plate.
There you go, a whole new niche.
I might do that. I want to answer my own question. Same with Shannon, and she said that she didn't think that it was going to work. I didn't think that it was going to work, and then for the first couple months, I felt like I was going to be one of the non-responders. Even though it was changing in other ways, I felt like I couldn't get too excited about it because I'm like, well, I'll just stay. I was committed. I was like, I'm going to stay on it, even though my weight might not go down because I feel better and my blood sugar is better and my blood pressure is better and everything like that. So when I finally started losing weight, I was just like, okay, we cooking with gas now. So I kind of let that go that it wasn't going to work or I was going to be a non-responder. And the other thing is that I have always, no matter what, whether it was Jenny Craig when I was in middle school, literally in middle school, I was at Jenny Craig. I was at Weight Watchers. I was doing keto. I was doing South Beach diet. Like all of pretty much everything, all of the drugs and, this, that, or whatever. I never had a feeling that this is it. Like, this is the thing. I always felt like, well, let's just enjoy it while we're having this because it's going to come back. Like, I always felt like the weight is going to come back. I don't feel like that anymore. I don't fear gaining weight again. Now, do I gain weight sometimes? Yes, but I don't fear being 400 pounds anymore. I know with absolute certainty that I'm never going to go back there. And this is the first time I felt like that.
That's powerful. Especially if you've been going through this since you've been 12. To feel that for the first time is powerful.
Forever. Like, I weigh less than I did when I was in high school. I have always been large. Like, my weight gain like kind of corresponded to the trauma that I had as a kid. And I remember being overweight when I was like 6th grade, 7th grade. Like, I've always been a big girl. But like I said, I think about, like, now it might look a little different than it did when I was in high school, but I'm less than I was then. And I'm like, well, that's progress. So
that's actually going to bring me to Shannon's question. So Shannon's question was, do you have a specific moment on your journey that you noticed a mindset shift? And your comment just made me think about that, because in the beginning of my journey, I was so accustomed to, because that's what I had done prior, I was chasing a number on a scale. That's what was driving my journey. That was the only thing that mattered to me was, and I picked some like arbitrary number that like doesn't mean anything. I was like, I want to be 150, like with no rhyme or reason, like didn't take any factor in. And I was like, I gotta get to that. I have to get to that number. And then it was, I can't remember. It was someone who did like an interview. She said that once she hit her goal, her body looked very, very different than what she thought it would. Right? So 150 at 43 is going to be very different that 150 would have looked like in high school. Right? Like, after obesity, cancer, having babies, right? My 150 is not looking what I thought it was going to look like in my head. So my mind shift happened. That's when it flipped for me. Is when I said, you're chasing this number that means nothing to you. You just picked this random number. I said, you need to build the body that you want. So that's when I started to, and that's when I stopped getting on the scale. I was like, this is not helping me. This isn't aligned with what I'm trying to achieve.
Right.
And because I was doing massive amounts of, I was lifting too, but I was doing massive amounts of cardio to try and get to that number. And that's not what I'm trying to do. I'm losing muscle and, so I stopped all of that. I do very low impact, prolonged cardio. I'll do like walk for like an hour and a half at like 3.0 on the treadmill, no high impact. I'm not raising my cortisol. It's the weight. I'm building my body. So for me, my mindset shifted when I decided to build the body that I want and not chase the number.
Right. I love that.
Thanks.
I think for me, and I haven't even done a video on this yet, and I need to, but I think for me, it was finally admitting what my start weight was. Because I was so ashamed for so many years. I said, I started at 298, which was not technically a lie, but it was. Like, I did step on the scale at one point in time and it said 298. I mean, so I wasn't lying, but I was so scared to admit that I was over 300. Like, I think I felt like the 300 mark put this huge shame on me. So when I finally was able to say, when I first started, I was 301. That wasn't the first time I got on the scale to see. I probably weighed more than that, but I was too scared to get on there when I first started.
Right.
So to finally admit that I did start in the 300s, I think for me, that was my moment that I was like, okay, I can finally admit this. And I don't feel as much shame as I had when I first started telling anybody. I didn't want anybody to know. Nobody knew. My mom knew, but nobody else knew. Like, I don't even think my best friends knew. And maybe they did, and I don't remember it, but like, I didn't want anybody to know because I was absolutely so shameful of it. So I think that for me was mine. Like, and I don't feel bad about it anymore. Like,
good, because that's not you anymore.
It's not me anymore. So
I was 401 when I first went to the obesity specialist, the surgeon that did my vertical sleeve gastrectomy. I was 401. And when I started my pre-op diet, I was 395. I think that, like, I wasn't in denial about that. The weight that bothered me was after I regained. I never wanted to say how much weight I had regained because I was just like, oh, I gained about 70, 80 pounds or what have you. And it was more like 100. So it was like one of those things that I was like real gray about when I said, oh, I gained some of my weight back. I lost 150 pounds, but I gained some of it back. And it wasn't until I started losing weight again, like last year, where I was honest about how high I had gotten back up to. But I also let go of a lot of the shame about that because I thought about all that I had gone through during that time. Like, I had 3 major surgeries. One of them was from a debilitating spinal thing where I was in a collar for 3 months. And like, when I think about all of the things that I went through during 2020 and during that time, of course I gained weight, like, and I'm just like, you were trying to walk, you were trying to take care of yourself. You couldn't lift your arms. Like, yes, you gained weight. And then I went through all of the hormone treatments with IVF and, you're on steroids, you're on all of these other things. And I'm just like, I had to let go of some of the shame because I'm like, you weren't just sitting and eating. You literally you were fighting for your life in some of these instances, or not necessarily your life, but my mobility was extremely impacted. And I had to let go of some of that guilt. It was like, oh, you don't have a trainer. You used to be out there flipping tires. You used to be out there doing this, that, or whatever. And now you have to sit down after washing the dishes for 15 minutes, So I think that feeling better was the shift for me because I'm just like, I'm not that anymore. And I'm on my way to be better. And this is working. And I'm going to keep going. Like, I think that was the shift for me.
Isn't that shame and guilt, though? It's like so debilitating mentally. Yeah. Like, it can like eat away at you.
It does.
And then when it finally clicks, when it doesn't eat away at you, you're like, oh, this is okay. I mean, I still got work to do, but it's like when you're like, okay.
More often than not, you're good.
Yeah, I have to say that my mind shift happened when I was first diagnosed with type 2 diabetes, and I felt very ashamed because, kind of like what Sabrina said, I felt like I had done this to myself, and I put off going to the doctor because I knew something was wrong. And I happened to get cellulitis and ended up in the hospital, and you can't stop them from checking your blood. And so they told me, oh, you're a type 2 diabetic. But anyway, I was so ashamed of it that I didn't even tell my own mother, who was there visiting me in the hospital. I made the nurses not check my blood sugar or mention my diabetes when I had visitors in the room. And the only person that I told was my husband and my son and his wife. And then I told a couple of coworkers because I had the danger of having low blood sugar. And I knew that people that were close to me during the day needed to know in case something happened, but still didn't tell my own mother, didn't tell the rest of my family. And I had been harping on Dave to finish that book. And I said, Dave, if you write that darn book, I'm going to use it to come out of the GLP-1 closet to my mom and, some closer family members. And, sure enough, he wrote it. I took it. I highlighted the parts that I thought were important. And it was 9 months into my diagnosis before I was able to tell my mom. I was very afraid of her being judgy about it. I've heard her talk about people that are diabetic. I've heard her talk about people that are taking, that nasty Ozempic. And so I knew that that was coming from a place of ignorance, and that I needed to educate her, and that book was just going to be the best thing to do it. And after I did that, I was kind of out there a little bit because I had been interviewed a couple times by some YouTube folks, our friends at the Downsized and Downsizing Diva. And, I was on TikTok, and although my mom's not on TikTok, some of my cousins are. And I'm like, she's going to find out the wrong way. So you just have to tell her. But after I did that, I felt more comfortable telling others, and realizing that I don't have to do this alone. While I had the YouTube and TikTok friends and community, really having those that are your family and close to you, understanding what you're going through, being able to say to my mom, oh my God, I found a box of Manjaro, when we were going through the Hunger Games, or, telling her, hey, I went to the doctor and, my A1C is this, or my non-alcoholic fatty liver disease is undetectable now, all
that's huge.
The joy that I couldn't share with my own mom because I was somehow thought I was protecting my own feelings and her feelings. And so, I just really have to say thank you to Dave for helping me, bridge that gap and get there. And I am forever grateful. And I've now given that book to my cousin who is struggling with her own diabetes. And I came out to her just a week ago and gave her the highlighted book and said, here you go. So it's a book that keeps on giving. And I'm very proud of him for doing that and very grateful.
You should be proud of you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Big steps.
Yeah. That's
yeah.
I'm so happy that was the outcome with Dave's book, because that's exactly why he wrote it.
Yeah.
That's exactly why he wrote it. And exactly what Liz said. You should be very proud of you.
Thank you.
Yeah. I have to say, being on the clinical trial, I actually feel a little bit guilty because I don't know why, but apparently it's completely socially acceptable to take a GLP if you're on a clinical trial. I've had nobody say to me, oh, you're cheating or whatever. Yeah, it's just so strange. Like, oh, you must really need it because you've been approved for a clinical trial, and therefore, you're not just doing it for vanity or whatever. So whereas before, when I previously took Saxenda and Ozempic for a short period of time, I was not telling anybody I was on those because I knew that, that would have been, oh, you're cheating, oh, you're lazy, just, everyone's favorite, move more, eat less. But I don't know what it is, but for some reason, being on a clinical trial, that's just perfectly socially acceptable. I've not had one single person say anything like that. It's really weird.
That's
I've kind of have like survivor's guilt.
I had a similar experience like Mindy. I I started it without really telling anyone except my husband. And then when I signed up to start filming, I was like, well, at this point, I should probably tell my dad, because now it's going to be on TV. Like, so same idea. And not that he was judgmental. I just felt so weird about, I don't know. It was such a big lifestyle change. And I know some people don't believe in it, that I didn't even want to have the conversation because I just wanted to, like, put blinders on and just do my thing. And honestly, once I said it out loud, it was fine. But it just getting over that fear. No one ever wants to be, or not even fear. I didn't want to have the combativeness about it. I didn't want to have to explain myself. Like,
For me, it was more, it wasn't even the medicine. It was like, so you're talking to people on TikTok about medicine that you're taking, and y'all have bonded over medicine that you're taking. That was the angle for me. Like, yeah, I have my friends. We're all on the same medicine, and we're doing this and whatever. And I'm like, that was the part that I had to explain.
That's a good one, though. Yeah,
medication.
It's just very normal for all of us.
Right.
Yeah. It is very weird.
It's very interesting seeing introverted people that are on, and they're like, I'm very introverted. But it's like you see everybody being like, bestie, like, we love you, like, and people that aren't in the community don't get it. So like, they're like, what do you mean? You're calling some random person bestie? You're like, you're hyping them up that you've been friends with them for a long time. I'm like, sure am. I'm gonna continue to do it.
Sabrina is now Auntie Sabrina. Like, my daughter, and she's like, oh, are you on the panel with Auntie Sabrina? And I'm like, yes.
Love it. I love it.
Yeah,
it must seem wild to some people that you're all going to a meetup in Atlanta, and it's kind of like getting into, like your parents told you, don't ever get into a car with strangers, and now we do that all the time because we get into Ubers and Lyfts.
Yep. No, like, honestly though, because there are so many people who have never traveled alone. I mean, they've never ever just like this is very much outside their comfort zone, but they're coming just because of the community.
Wow.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's so many of I can think of 5 people off the top of my head who are just traveling alone, have never traveled alone, just for the meetup.
Mm-hmm. I think it's funny because when I first called my mom and I was like, hey, can you watch? My parents were going to come and bring my kid, and we were going to go to the zoo and all this kind of stuff. And then I started realizing, like, wait a minute, like, I really want to spend time with these people. Mm-hmm. And if my kid's there, I'm going to want to, I'm her mom. I'm like, I'm going to want to be there.
Yeah.
And I was like, can you watch? And like, it wasn't strange for my mom. She was like, oh, you're going with your GLP-1 friends? And I'm like, yeah. But then like some people that I knew, I was like, yeah, I'm going to a GLP-1 meetup. And they're like, a meetup. And I'm like, yeah. And they were like, is this because you content create? I'm like, no, no. I mean, like, I'm going to meet a whole bunch of content, but like, we're going to go have fun and spend time together with each other. And they're like, over a med you take? And I'm like, whoa. Not just that.
Rude.
I mean, yeah, that's not part of it. But
how dare you? No.
Yeah, I'm like, it's therapy, okay? We're going for a weekend of like mental health therapy, okay? That's what it is.
But it's not like, I don't think that, so if you're not in this community, it's not going to make sense to you.
Right.
The very, very real connections that we've made, it doesn't, they're not going to, like, kikiing with Shannon in the morning is by Tuesday morning, because Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, there is no morning show. By Tuesday morning, I was looking at the time. I'm like, well, where the hell is Shannon? It's I'm all mad and have an attitude problem.
And I'll like pop into Shannon's. I'm like, hey, and I'll say like 2 words. And then she just plays in the background because like I'm at work, so I can't say anything. I'm just like, hey. And then I'm just like a creeper watching, but I'm like, but those are my lives. Like Tiffany's live, Teresa and them walking, and Shannon's live. Like those are my mornings. If I'm driving to work, like it's like, those are my mornings.
Very much,
like,
yes.
I don't even really listen to music anymore.
No, I don't either.
I'm like, what song is this? Because those are just the things I do in the morning now. So like,
it's part of the routine.
Yeah. It's almost like, it's like people are like, what do you do in the morning? I'm like, watch TikTok live. And they're like, oh, we listen to podcasts. And I'm like, well, I mean, it's kind of like podcast in a way. It's, you know, talking about feelings and stuff and like life.
That's the same thing I said, right?
Yeah, right.
People who are the same type of
they take the same cholesterol medicine and I am.
Yeah, I'm like,
ridiculous.
I literally was thinking that in my head because I was like, you don't see anybody who's hyped up on hypertension medicine.
Yeah. I'm not going to a Hashimoto's convention.
Yeah. There is no community like the GLP-1 community.
No.
But like quite literally, there's 150 of y'all that I talk to every single 7 days a week. I mean, there's at least 150 of y'all that I talk to every day.
Well, and people are like, why are you so tired at work? I'm like, because I'm on live talking to my friends. And they're like, you're free. You know, and here's what's funny. Okay. How many people do you know that play video games that talk to their friends on video games?
My husband.
We're essentially doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
So
But you know what's funny to me is if I'm on a panel, I don't go live that often, but when I'm on a panel or something like that, and then someone from my real life pops in and I'm like, this is not for you. Like, there are only
what's your
a few
TikTok
people.
handle? And I'm like, huh?
the connection went out. Yeah, no.
I'm like, I don't know.
Trust me, I have big FOMO from being on the other side of the world because I miss nearly everybody's lives. The only lives I get to catch are this one and the On the Pen because they're at around lunchtime Australian time. So Shannon, if I am ever in your live, it's because my insomnia has kicked in big time because it'll be about 3 a.m. here.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Yeah. Look, it's all good, Mimi. It's all good. I have a
It's
good
so
time.
cool to be on a call with you, Mimi, though, because I've seen you like in the chat before, and I'm always like, oh, Mimi in Australia, she's the one that's on Road to Tide.
Same, Erika. Same. I'm like so excited that she's here. Like, well, that really, I'm here with her.
Right.
I get to hang out with
Exactly.
her.
It is really wild, isn't it? I mean, I'm in a completely different day to you guys, but we're all online together at the same time. It's so weird.
I love
You're
it.
in a whole other hemisphere, season, all the things.
Yeah.
It's autumn here, but I'm in the north, so it's still pretty hot here.
But
Were
it's
you
so
near where the
amazing,
cyclone
though.
hit?
Yes, I was in the direct path of the cyclone, so I was in lockdown for about 5 days last week.
Oh no.
And had got some flooding. That's the main issue. But yeah, like lots and lots of debris, and then the debris that had fallen from all the trees had blocked a stormwater drain, and so even though I'm on a hill, the stormwater drain overflowed and then flooded my garage and laundry. But fortunately, like they're just concrete floor. It just took a while to, but lots of people lost power. Trees fell through houses. Yeah, it was not.
Yeah, there's a
nice.
mom I follow, and she didn't have power for 10 days.
Oh, wow.
And she has
Yeah.
4 kids.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
yeah.
I
It's someone that
love
works.
your accent.
we
I know you said that.
I know I could listen to you talk.
We- we-
all day.
I'm proud that I knew it was a cyclone and not a hurricane.
It's very similar. It's just that it comes with a lot of rain and flooding. You get the wind, and then once the wind has gone, then you get the rain and the flooding.
But isn't it crazy? A friend of mine's from the UK, and she calls it across the pond. Like we don't call it across the ocean. She calls it across the pond, so that's what we say. But isn't it crazy that one medication can connect people across the pond? Like
Yes.
it's like the craziest thing. Like
Yeah. Well, because
And see, because of all the restrictions here, and because GLPs are essentially limited to diabetics, you'll never ever get an Australian forum like this because it's just there's just so many restrictions and
Hopefully.
So thank you, Americans, for welcoming me.
We do
I
some
hate
things
that
right.
because
we love you, Mimi.
Yeah, we love you, Mimi.
I I hate that for
I
y'all
like to consider myself an honorary American because I've got an American granddaughter. So I think that makes me an honorary American.
Oh,
I know
that's a phrase that I don't hear often. Everybody wants to be from everywhere else.
I think Mike commented asking how we could get Mimi to come to Atlanta.
Yeah.
Well, I'm coming to Washington State in late July, early August. I could maybe meet up. So I know Nate is in Seattle, and because my son's name is Nate as well, that lives in Washington State. So that's what
funny.
that always makes me think of him. Yeah, but no, I normally try and come over once every 12 months. But it's 16 hours on 3 planes to get there.
Oh my gosh, that's
a lot. But it's longer for us to get to the UK. It's 24 hours and 3 planes for me to get to London or anywhere in Europe.
Crazy.
Wow.
Because when you see it on the map, it looks like a hop, skip, and a jump.
Yeah.
I hate that y'all don't have a forum.
Yeah.
Forum like
Everything
us.
is a long way away from us except New Zealand. And even New Zealand's 3 hours away by plane. So everything's a long way away. So you just, we've never known any different. You just accept that it's going to be 24 hours and 3 planes to get to London.
Yeah. Yeah.
Crazy.
Wow.
I was thinking about what we were talking about just a minute ago, like how people were like questioning how we've all connected with each other. And I know that because Lou my husband would always say to me, he's like, what could you possibly continue to speak about GLP-1 for 4 hours? Because we had like a 5-hour live last Friday. And he's like, what are you talking? Like, what more can be said about the medication? I said, baby, we ain't talking about the medication.
Right. It just evolves over time.
Right. We're not talking about actual GLP-1s. So
but it's like you wouldn't have known these people had it not been the medication. So the medication talk happens, and then we go into all these other things, and it's just like, it's crazy to see how we're all connected and so many, and we've all felt the same feelings, but we didn't have anybody to feel them with. So it's like you finally found your people that you actually feel the same feelings with, and you can talk about them and like be open about them, and it's amazing. Like, it's the coolest thing.
Yeah,
absolutely.
It's great when you have people who know, who understand, who are going through the same thing. For the longest, I didn't know anybody in my real life who was on a GLP-1. So the only thing I had was this community. It was my lifeline for the first several months when I first started, because I had nobody else who would know what I'm feeling. If I had a symptom, where I had to come to TikTok. And, I am somebody that I really believe, and I'm a believer, that the people who've landed on TikTok and in this community, it's God ordained. Because if you're over there on Facebook, it's the Wild Wild West. And there's tens of thousands of users, way more than there are on TikTok.
Yeah.
But something led each of us over to TikTok, as opposed to either being on Facebook and just staying there or whatever. So I really do believe it's providential, and there's a reason that there's this community, and it's amazing. It is absolutely amazing. It's been such a blessing.
The thing that I love about the TikTok community also is that every day I will scroll and I'll see someone that I don't follow, and then I click on their page and I'm like, they've been posting content for months or a year. And I'm like, I've never heard of this person. Yeah. And I'm just like, every day there's someone else that I'm just like, oh, you have been sharing your journey, and they have a lot of followers. And I'm just like, where are all of these pockets of people? It's such a large community.
Yeah. I feel like it's exploded though, and maybe maybe like year.
A lot of new new people sharing about it too.
The last 12 months, it's been incredible because I feel like most people in the fall of 2023, most people knew each other in the community. And now, hey, there are pockets of the community I'll never know.
Never.
And there are people, you know, of course, new people starting every single day on the med. So I'm on week 1. This is the end of my first week. I had a good week. Where did you come from?
I can't tell you how many people send those pages and those videos to me because I'm like, hi, welcome.
And Mike does that too. Mike.
You are definitely the welcome wagon, Sabrina.
I cannot
Sabrina
tell
and
you how
Mike.
many people are. Yes, they'll send it. They're like new community member, and they'll send me their page, and I'm like, and I'll tag them in all my little welcome videos, and I'm like, let me know if you need anything.
I started reaching out to people and saying, hey. And I'm like, if you ever have any questions, come to labs, like join GLP-1 labs, because like not just mine, like join everybody's, because you're going to learn something and you can ask questions and everybody will answer you. And you know,
I love when you send me someone be like, hey, he's new, he just got started, good content. Like I love that.
I remember I decided to go live one random night. I was still with my hometown, not telehealth company, my hometown, like, provider or whatever. And I lost, and this is not to boast by any means, but this is just me to tell you the difference. So I lost 19 pounds my first month. Not on purpose. I had pneumonia. Also was not told that I needed to pregame. Did not learn that until I got on TikTok. Had no idea how much protein I needed to eat. Did not know that I needed to eat all this. Like, I knew nothing. So I start, like, my first week and stuff, like, I get diagnosed with pneumonia and I'm like, screw it. I'm going to start just scrolling TikTok. And I just started scrolling and I started learning all this stuff and, you know, whatnot. And then by the end of first month, I'm like, okay, this is why I've lost. Because I meet with my dietitian with, I ended up joining Fridays because I wanted more stuff. So ended up doing that, met with a dietitian, and she was like, you're under eating calories by 500. I'm like, well, no wonder I lost 19 pounds. No wonder I felt like crap the first month. And it's just like, it's crazy to me because I'm like, I start absorbing everybody talking and I find like Sabrina and Mike and all this kind of stuff. I remember the first time I went live, I knew I was like, I don't know much, but I'm just going to go live one day. And I had followed Mike and I'd seen his posts and stuff, and he was in my live and I about had a stroke because I was like, what is he doing in here?
Stars.
What's happening right now? And he said something at the end of the live because I saw him come in and I was like, oh, he probably left. Like, there's no way he's in here. And I was live late. And he said something at the very, like, right before I was about to get off. And I was like, what's happening right now? But, like, it's crazy because you find these amazing people and then you start connecting with them and you're like, oh, this is cool. Like, Shannon, I know you and Sabrina are going to think I'm crazy, but, like, y'all, Mike, Jay, like, y'all are like celebrities to me. So, like, when y'all started knowing what my name was, I was like, wait, what's happening right now?
Ashley, were you on the live with me, Sabrina, and Jay the other day when, so I don't know what I posted or I said something, and Jay asked me, was I on from my backup page? And I was like, no. And I was confused for a second, and I realized why. Because Jay has never followed me.
I was on that too.
Like, I think of Jay like a celebrity too, and so I'm just like, all that time I was just like, well, why would he follow me? I don't really post like that much. Like, that's the thought that I had. So when he said that, it was hilarious because I was like, no, you don't follow me.
I remember that.
I remember when Shannon and Sabrina and Mike and I remember when my celebrities started following me and I was like, am I in the Twilight Zone? Like, I had to like refresh it because I'm like, there ain't no way these people are following me. Like,
Candace followed me. I thought I had arrived. I was just like,
I need you to stop saying celebrities because that's
but you are though. Yeah. Like, y'all don't see it. Y'all don't see it, but like, there's certain people who are lights to this community and like bring people together and like it's like your safe place.
Yes.
And like and I'm sure that there's multiple different people that feel the same way about other people too, but like, you know who your people are, like what Shannon, like, you know who your people are. And it's like, when those people, I'm like shaking, because I remember being nervous, like when I was literally like, how are these people like following me? So it's like, you really do, they're like, y'all may not feel like it, but y'all are to me. Like, it's
I'm so regular, degular, schmegular. It's ridiculous.
I mean, I can't even articulate how much a regular, degular, schmegular it is.
Whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, I appreciate the sentiment, but
it's true though. I mean, like, it's true though. Like, I'm not saying that to hype you guys up. Like, I mean, it's true.
But I do get it, because I felt that way when I first met JT. I've met Simply Kim, Geechee Girl. I kind of felt that way when I met her. Probably a little bit when I met Jay, but I was super excited to meet Jay. And then I'm trying to think who else. I mean, I get it, but I feel like I'm so regular, degular, schmegular. I'm gonna be a disappointment in June.
But it's like in the GLP-1 community, you know what I mean? Like, that's what it is.
You got a whole podcast. Sabrina's like on here with her own spinoff show, broadcasting to all these people.
Shut that down right now. I'm just
you ain't got to call yourself that.
Yeah, you don't have to, but people see you. It's interesting when you get told that people see you in a certain way. Like, it's obviously some people can be mean and say mean things, but like, it's crazy when you get compliments or anything like that. Like, you're just like, wait a minute, what? Like, but it's true.
Yeah. So I appreciate, it's very, very kind and everything, but it's so far from that in my mind, like we are just, you guys are just like my friends, right? And we're just trying to get talked and heal and help people. I mean,
but it's like that way now. But like before I knew y'all and became like friends with you guys, like, but I don't know. It's just it's
Ashley just said, I thought y'all were celebrities before, but now y'all, I really do realize that y'all are just regular people.
Like, y'all my friends now.
Because we are just regular people. I mean, that's. Please don't say it.
But I think it's the cool thing to transfer from being somebody. I'm not saying that I don't look up to you guys anymore. I'm saying, like, to see y'all in that light, to become like actual like friends with you. Like, it's different, Yeah.
More genuine.
Yeah, more genuine. Yeah.
I think all of my favorite people are people who they're the same when they make videos that they are on a live, that they are in the comments, because there are so many people who, they make content, but then when you catch them on a live, you're just like, oh.
Yeah. Yeah, they play the character.
You see their comments, it's just like, So I think that it's just like that level-headed, genuine, I don't know. I'm big on vibes.
That's what I was literally about to say, that it's vibes. Like, I can, if I don't mesh with your vibe, then, but like, it's the vibes, man. Like,
that's such a good comment.
Yeah.
Thank you, Barbie.
Thanks, Barbie.
Yes.
And Barbie is new. I think I saw her post earlier that she's like 6 or 7 weeks in, something like that.
Oh, cool. Welcome.
I saw her.
Well done.
Thanks for hanging out with us.
Yeah, welcome.
It's lit over here.
It is.
Yeah, yes, it is a good time. It you could tell we genuinely care about each other, and this community, and want to help people. That's my North Star. I mean, that's always been my North Star, has been to help others. Because 20 months ago, I was in a rough spot, you guys. I mean, mentally, I was in a rough spot. And that's the stuff that keeps me up at night, is just thinking about people who are currently there.
Right.
They don't need to be there anymore. So I think that I think what we have is special. I really, truly do. And I didn't realize that it was 9:53 over here. So we have to do our
where I am.
thoughts. We have to do our closing thoughts.
Okay.
So just what is like, well, number one, tell everyone where they can find you again. And what do you want to say to the community? Mimi, you go first.
Okay. Well, to the community, I want to say, as always, thank you so much for being so welcoming and so nice. You know, I'm just some strange lady from Australia with a weird accent and a cat emoji for a profile picture. And you've all made me feel very welcome, so that's very nice. So yeah, so I am Mimi in Oz on social media, but sometimes it's got underscores and things in it. But if you see the cat emoji with the Australian flag on it, which probably doesn't make any sense, but that's a cartoon character here, and I like cats, and I'm in Australia, so that's why that's my profile picture. Yeah, so yeah, I guess that's this has been a great live. Sorry for the diversions occasionally, but you know, it's nice just to see everything flow when we eventually all get back on track. And yeah, you know, I wish everybody ongoing health and success in their journeys. And please don't feel you're alone, even if you're on the other side of the ocean. You're not alone. You know, this community is here for you.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love that. Shannon?
Closing thoughts. Wow. I'm grateful. I'm very, very grateful for this community. I would not have been as successful on my journey had it not been for this community. I found friends I didn't know I needed on this journey. I found a community I didn't know that I needed in this community. And I found a piece of my advocacy voice as a result of this community. So I am grateful. And the biggest reason I go live is to pay forward, I feel like, what was paid to me. There were folks who were live, who helped me, who shared their journey with a lot of transparency. And I just wanted to pay it forward. And if I could just help one person, somebody, I thought, hey, it would be worth it. So I'm grateful.
So I guess that's my turn. So kind of to go back on Mimi, like, you're not alone. I'm going to piggyback on both y'all actually, but you're not alone. And the same with Shannon. Like, I wasn't like, oh yeah, I'm coming on TikTok to go live, blah, blah, blah. But I found that finding my people and finding where my voice should land on helping people and stuff. I mean, I'll go live at night and be up for like 3+ hours. And then the next day I'm like, I need to go to bed because I don't like every person I want to help, every question I want to answer. And I like, because I know for me starting out, that's what I needed during my first, you know, month of my journey. And it's like, so for me, it's just like helping people and not letting anybody feel like they're alone. Because I think that this can be a very, this can be an alone journey. Like, this can be a singular journey until you bring people into the fold or until people feel like they can come to you or come to somebody else. So I just want everybody to know that I think, and I know personally for me, and I think for a lot of people up here, like, that's what we're like, we want to advocate, like what Shannon said, for everybody, and like advocate for yourself. And like, so I think that would be mine too. I hate to piggyback on y'all, but it's how I feel. So
yeah, it's.
Oh, and you can find me on TikTok, and I just started YouTube, but I don't know what I'm doing on there. So,
Girl,
you and me both.
No clue on that. So,
I forgot to say that you can find me. I'm SY Daniels everywhere on any platform, pretty much.
Nice.
You can find me on TikTok. I'm on Instagram, but again, it's a different kind of vibe over there for me, which is fine. I have a YouTube, but it was only as a backup when TikTok was going away. And I put my niche in my handle, so it's Liz and lifting and lipedema. So you'll see my powerlifting, and those videos are also to help keep me accountable, but they're fun for me to edit. And the one thing, if I could put out in the community, is don't be like me as I was in the beginning of this journey. I'm a very hard-headed, like, I can do this myself kind of person. And I think I did myself a disservice by not reaching out to resources, by not looking for the community, because I was like, that's, it's all for the reasons I didn't understand. So don't be like me, because I think I could have had a more successful journey early on if I had looked for those resources and community first. I had that with the lipedema side of it, but not the GLP-1 specifically. And I did need that. I did need the support, and don't feel like reaching out to one of us, I believe, asking questions would put us off. Like, we are very much happy to help. So don't be afraid to ask. And that's, even when I go live, I'm like, you don't have to put it in the chat. If you want to DM me, let's do that instead. Because sometimes those questions need privacy. So yeah, that's all I got.
Love it.
Nice. So like I said before, I am not a content creator, but I am a content creator cheerleader. So I do love to comment and share and like and, do all the things. But I am grateful to the community. It's changed my life in so many ways. The thing that I've been thinking about a lot, because I heard someone say that the medication isn't magic. And I said to myself, and I think to that person, I said, well, they may not be magic, but they certainly are magical. And that, I don't know, it just resonates with me. And so those are the words I would like to leave.
I get a lot from the community. I definitely do. I have a really good time, and it is like a second session of therapy. I graduated from weekly and biweekly therapy. Also, Mindy, I only go once a month now. But like I said, I always feel like when I have these conversations with you all that it's healing a part, or I get a nugget. I don't know if y'all can see this.
I love your notes.
I love that.
I did too. And I use the back of mail all the time for notes.
Listen, I don't even know what this is. It's not been opened. But
can we stop getting paper bills now? Like, nobody
right. I'm like, yes. But I definitely appreciate you all. Every time I have conversations with you all, I leave with nuggets, and I am definitely going to take the first two things that I wrote down is just show up and don't let the start stop you. Because I need to take that with me to the gym. So that's it.
And your vibration plate.
And my vibration plate that actually busted me out, but that's okay, because I'm gonna use this tonight.
I need you to let me know how it is, because now I want one. I think Sabrina wants one.
I love it.
I want one.
So you can find me at Sabrina_727 on every platform that there is, but except that X, I don't do that one. But my words to the community are always the same. Find your people. It will change your journey. It will. I mean, I cannot stress it enough. Find your people, and if you don't feel comfortable, just go hang out in a couple of lives and make comments. And they're like, how do I come into the community? Right? Like that, come into the lives and hang out and chat. That's how you get to know people. It really is done through the lives. And be good to yourself. This is, for most of us, a lifelong journey, right? So take care of you and trust yourself, trust this medication, and it will always be focus on overall health, and all aspects of health. So be good to yourself. I want to thank you guys for coming up and spending time with us, with me, with everyone in the chat. I want to thank everyone who hung out with us and commented and interacted. For people who were just watching, I want to thank Dave for giving us this platform because we used to be tied to a date and time. And then if you missed it, you just missed it, and now we have this option where people could come back and rewatch. So I am very, very thankful to Dave and everything that he does for this community. And I hope that you guys join us next time in a couple of weeks. And I love you guys. Everyone have a great night.
Bye, everyone.